Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hump day, hump day! It's a three-man cast again because G. Bush is still out. Bull is still sick. Get well, my brother. He's still, I don't know, I guess he's got a virus infection.
Well,
He's not COVID. He assures all of us.
Yeah.
But it's going around, so get well, get back here. In the meantime, you're stuck with the Three Stooges. So here we go.
It's a good show. We got a great show.
We got a great show. A sucky loss for the Cavs last night.
Yeah.
Who's going to pee first, me or Tyvis? Ready? Go.
Tyvis actually said, I should give Jason the outside chair in case he has to pee.
The problem is we only have one guest today on the show. So
he's in studio, Tyvis.
You can't even leave.
Yeah, you can't leave. Yeah.
Well, I'm not drinking any water.
I better stop. I better put this coffee aside.
Unlike Jason here. Jason's
hydrated.
I have a
so
vat of coffee and a water bottle.
Yeah. Go easy, guys. Tito's scooter was found. So our 5-day civic nightmare has ended. We're going to talk about that. Trade Nick Chubb or not? If you saw the banner on the pre-show banner, no, it's not happening. So stop it with the theories and the pretend GM trades. It drives me nuts, all of these Twitter GMs. But we are going to ask the question, if you were to trade him, what would it take? So we're gonna just fall into the madness with that. Eli Apple trash talk. Good thing, bad thing if you're the Bengals. Tyvis' old teammate he's making a name for himself. It could be in a bad way, but he's making a name for himself. So we'll talk about all of that.
Is he any good? Is he any good?
Eli?
Yeah.
You talking about former first-round pick Eli?
I know.
Well,
I know where he was taken.
Here's a stat. 4 teams, 5 years.
Exactly.
LeBron James.
He played on 4 teams in 5 years.
What difference is that?
3 teams in 17
If you
years.
were truly a commodity, you wouldn't be passed around like a dish towel.
Well, maybe we'll save.
Let's save the smoke.
Save it for
Save
later.
the smoke. Also, the Hall of Fame in baseball has taken an odd turn. They had nobody inducted in 21. They're going through a time now where most of the great players that played in the era that is now up for Hall of Fame induction, a lot of those guys have steroid smoke around them. So the writers have clearly taken a stance against all of them. They're not over the 75% threshold. So we get Scott Rowland this year. Hey, let's get excited about that. Hey, baseball, you made your bed. Now you got to lie in it. So enjoy that Scott Rowland induction ceremony this summer. We're going to do true or false. Mikey tells me there's new rules. I don't know what that means, but there's new rules.
It's not necessarily new rules. It's still true or false. Rules are the same. It's just a new way of presenting the information after last week's debacle. And listen, I haven't slept since last Wednesday after my poor performance in true and false. It was that bad.
It was bad.
Partially because I'm thinking of jokes when I'm sleeping and I'm not funny enough to actually fall asleep. But the other reason I haven't slept is because of the trauma I experienced last Wednesday. I promise this will make up for it.
Wait a minute, McNuggets. You nervous next week?
Oh, I'm perfectly fine for next week. Next February 1st, I'm going to be living
all
on
right,
it.
2 weeks.
He's petrified.
Yeah. He is absolutely petrified.
Man, that's sad.
Real quick, while we're talking about that real quick, it is February 8th.
Yeah.
The link's on. We'll drop the link in the YouTube chat. It's on Twitter. I was at basketball last night. Shout out to Matt at Jesu Church.
What up, Matt?
Before we started, he brought everyone together. We had 17 people there last night. He goes, oh, yeah, by the way, guys, we're all going to see this stand-up. McNuggets is doing stand-up.
They're going as a team.
I think they're gonna, and they said they're going to heckle. Listen, I have enough jokes to make 10 minutes. I'm not sure I got crowd work involved in my repertoire yet.
You better build it in.
Well, if I do crowd work, I'm not going to get the jokes in.
Build a joke into the – you know they're going to heckle you. So build a joke into your basketball league. Like there should be one joke based on them.
I will. I already got one. I'm going to roast Matt.
You know what the sad thing is, McNuggets? I feel like if I would have lost, I wouldn't have broke anything. I would have just got up on stage and been myself, and I think I'd have killed it.
I'll tell you, the first joke I'm making is about Tyvis.
Of course you would have, Eddie Murphy.
Just killed it.
Listen, here's a little peel back the curtain. The first joke I'm making is about Tyvis.
Wow.
That one's already locked in.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm roasting everyone on the
Tyvis,
show.
you're going, right? Everybody's going, right?
I'm glad that I inspired.
Tyvis, you better be there.
Tyvis, you are going,
It better be good. If I make the trip to stay up
Not
here.
if. No, not if. We've got to be there in mass to support our boy.
Yeah, we do have to come.
Like
Everyone's gotta
everybody
be
within a
Can
car
I bring
ride.
tomatoes?
You can bring
That's
whatever
what I
you want.
said.
Yes.
That's literally what everyone said.
That first
Everyone's
one
like,
bad.
Well,
Wham!
I'm a fruit ninja expert, and I'm bringing a samurai sword. So y'all throw tomatoes, I'm chopping that, you know what, on the fly
Wait,
with
you're
a samurai
bringing a
sword.
samurai sword?
Wait a minute. Who's going first? You or Anthony?
Well, Anthony's first.
Okay.
But I don't think anyone's. No offense, Anthony. I think he's gonna be pretty funny. I think the tomatoes are saving for me. I think people are saving the tomatoes for me. Anthony has friends. Like Anthony's got his whole squad coming. He rolls deep.
Well, and he's local too, so he's going to bring a lot.
I heard half of Parma.
It's going to be a sold-out show.
Listen, do I need to buy a ticket? I don't want to get locked out of this
real quick.
thing.
Well, we'll do this real quick. We won't talk through it. We got so much to get to today.
We
won't
do.
spend too much time. We're going to talk about this at the end of the show too. After Mike Gabinski comes in, we've accomplished
Cleveland Clothing Company.
Cleveland Clothing Company. We have accomplished that we're allowed to give out tickets. We're raising money for charity, guys. It's $10. I think we should all buy our own ticket. I'm serious. I think we should all buy our own ticket.
I want to.
fair.
I think we should because it's going to charity. I just want to know, do we do that individually now? I don't want to get locked out.
That's a good question. Director Steve already bought a ticket. You want to take tag word full? I put out the link yesterday. This is literally what my Twitter feed's getting bombarded with from people saying, I bought a ticket and some tomatoes already. Like,
Now, do you know Mr. Disco?
It's actually Maddie. She's a girl. That's Anthony's friend, Maddie, who works at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, who's gotten us some tickets. Shout out,
great.
Maddie.
Okay.
She's got a rocket arm. I actually seen her throw a football before.
Wow.
Anthony, if she's throwing tomatoes, we're in trouble. We're actually screwed.
Yeah.
That girl has an arm.
Okay.
What's
Disco
her name
can
Mr.
throw
Disco,
it.
by the way. We'll find out why she's Mr. Disco.
All right.
That's a little
All
odd.
right. Very good.
But we can put a comp list out. We're raising money for charity. I think we should all buy our own tickets.
No, listen, I'm not asking for a freebie.
No, I'm just saying in general. Like
what I'm saying is, there's a large group of us. I don't want to find out that there's 20 of us and that there's no tickets left.
I'll talk to Polk today. Tomorrow I'll have an answer if we're going to buy a
whatever,
UCSS.
20, because my wife wants to come.
Yeah.
I imagine with our group, we should take a head count. If it's 20, reserve 20. And when we show up, we'll have the $200.
Easy money.
Okay,
Easy
good.
money, yeah.
I
We'll
just
do
don't
that.
want to get locked
And
out.
a stage side table so we can tackle you.
We want front row.
Yes.
We gotta be in the front row.
I want within shouting distance,
Yes.
I
whisper
gotta be
distance.
in the front row.
No, Tyvis can't reach if he's in the back row, so he better be in the front row. Bringing tomatoes.
He's hilarious, man. I sure hope your material is good, boy. If it's bad, I'm gonna make sure I pop the thing off. I'm gonna watch that thing.
It is going to be a night of hilarity.
And last thing, I promise we'll move on after. And this is, if you haven't bought your ticket, please buy them. Like, come out. After this, we're all going to hang out. Or people who can stick around for a little bit are all going to hang out.
Yes.
Might, grab a beverage or something like that. So.
And Ty,
It's
if you decide that you want to stay the night, I don't know, like family situation, you want to bring the wife?
Oh, yeah. My wife keeps telling me, she's like, yeah, we should definitely go.
Okay,
So
I'll make an offer to you right now. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I know that like if you want to bring the wife and kids, we
ain't bringing the kids.
Well, no, I was saying not to the show, but like we'll handle a sitter. You're more than welcome to crash at my place, so you don't have to get a hotel room.
Take them up on it.
I don't have a black Nissan. I got a nice white Tahoe.
I don't care. You can come with the little red wagon.
Take him up on it. His soap smells delicious.
Will you stop with that?
It's luscious.
Hey,
man
and
is
you
luscious.
You
I
found
have
some.
it.
Yeah.
I got it. My wife bought it for me for Christmas.
My
This is my
wife
favorite
sent
Christmas
him
present.
the link.
He was sitting
When he
there.
left my house, like Monday after the party, which by the way, we're having a Super Bowl party. I don't know what the attendance is looking like, but on that note, Adam, Adam Richmond,
Who's coming on?
Mr. Food.
Very excited.
So I've decided, I'm thinking like, what's the tie-in? I was texting with him some more yesterday. Here's the tie-in. He's going to come on and he's going to tell me what food I need at my Super Bowl party for our staff party at my house.
Done. Easy.
And we're going to talk sports. He used to live in Cleveland. He's a Cleveland sports fan. He's a big Buckeye fan.
Go Bucks.
And the man can eat and he knows food and we all love that. So he's going to be on. Oh, also Stephen A is going to be on sometime between now and next week.
That is a promise.
Within a week. He has always said he would come on whenever, but ESPN has these really funny rules. If it's not an ESPN property, you can't. But he's written a book, and I'm told that I get a mention in the book. So I got to ask Stephen A. Is it in a good way or a bad way? I don't know yet. But he's going to come on to plug his book, which is doing very, very well, sometime between now and a week from now. So
my wife texted and said, "We have the soap too. Tyvis can stay with us." We also have the luscious, lavish soap.
I gotta smell this soap.
Tyvis, I can't offer soap. I can't offer a guest bed. I have a couch. If you and your wife want to on my couch.
I don't think that.
It just depends on how you want to roll. It depends on how you want to roll.
We'll see.
All right, let's get into the show.
Let's get into it.
Tito's scooter was found. So we did this story yesterday on Channel 3 that his scooter was stolen sometime from his downtown apartment between 9:30 last Friday night and 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. I'm imagining when he went out to head to the Guards Fest, he saw that his famous scooter was gone. If you spend any time at all in the 4th Street area, you have seen Tito going to a game or coming back from a game on his scooter. That's his mode of transportation. It's hilarious when you see Tito on this thing, buzzing through the streets.
Rolling up.
He is rolling in style. Someone had the gall to steal the thing.
Yeah, well, we all know it was DeQuell. He's the only person that needed it. DeQuell is suffering from Achilles injury, and, he needed to get around.
So DeQuell took the scooter.
DeQuell was rolling that thing. He probably put some rims on it and everything.
Even pimp my ride, pimp my scooter.
DeQuell's on tomorrow.
Why DeQuell? DeQuell, get a scooter back, man. The jig is up.
It was found.
It was found.
It was found. Not far from me. Here on Channel 3. So my first thought was, which Channel 3 employee stole it? Because it was found on Lakeside in the 200 block, I think, which I don't think is very far from here.
No, I don't think so. It's the other side.
2000 block.
Stole the scooter, man.
Anyhow, it was found on Lakeside, which isn't too far from where it was stolen.
So they stole the scooter and abandoned it.
Joyriding in the scooter.
I think they did.
They abandoned it.
They jacked his scooter and took it joyriding for about 12 hours.
He had a screwdriver sticking out of the steering wheel.
Well, it must have. And you know why? Because Tito said, I took the key. It didn't have a key in it, so they had to jig it. They had to hotwire it. Somehow. Can you imagine hotwiring Tito's scooter, keeping an eye on the door, making sure he's not coming out? Your coast is clear. Hurry up. Now cut that wire. Now touch it to that one.
Savages in Cleveland. Y'all hotwired the scooter.
Crime's out of control. They're stealing Tito's scooter.
And it's not like it's a Honda. Like it kind of sticks out a little bit.
It sticks out a lot. Now, it's a nice scooter. I think it's a couple $1,000 scooter. Of course, it's Tito. He's not gonna, he's not gonna slum it on a moped.
It's not a golf cart.
No, it is not. It's a good-looking scooter, but they have it back. Now, I don't know what kind of damage was done to it. I imagine the ignition has to be replaced.
I'd be mad if I was him.
Just a guess. If you guys had to say, you think DeQuell did it, if you had to say that one of his either former players, current players, or maybe somebody he's managed against.
Trevor Bauer.
That's what I was going to say. Trevor Bauer. That's exactly what I was going to say.
The last time we see Trevor, he threw that ball over there. Tito got in his grill, and that was it.
You see the way Tito put his finger in his face when he threw that ball over the wall in Kansas City? You have thrown your last pitch for us.
And it was. That was literally the last ball he ever threw in an Indians uniform. It's funny. The last conversation they probably had was Tito saying to Trevor, "Give me the ball." And now we've got a stolen scooter. Did Trevor do it? I don't know.
He's got time on his hands.
He definitely got
time on his hands. We don't know if the man will ever pitch again. He's been released by the Dodgers, who will pay the bulk of his, $25 million salary or whatever the heck it is, $30 million. He's still an available free agent. No one has signed him yet.
Wait, his situation, he did get found now guilty by...
Yes, it's very, very similar to Deshaun Watson. Okay. Obviously, the number of accusers aren't as high. There were three separate women. One woman filed criminal charges. A grand jury looked into it in, I think, L.A. County, and they said nothing there, no charges. He was able to produce text messages that she had sent, basically saying, "I want all that smoke. Choke me out. I want it all." Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so once those text
This is
messages
a
were
family show.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I'm just saying. It's not my thing, but some people are into that. On a related note, Clevenger yesterday is now being accused by his wife of slapping her and throwing tobacco at her.
Child endangerment.
Child
It's
endangerment.
not
we
good.
have to stress accusations.
Yeah.
Accusations do not make a man guilty, but that's out there in the public
Baseball's
sphere
investigating
now.
him now.
Baseball is currently investigating. He has signed a contract with the White Sox, who immediately came out and said, "We did not know about this when we signed him."
Yeah.
So now you've got that situation. I don't want to throw dirt on the man because it's an accusation.
Yeah.
And if this accusation proves to be untrue, it won't be the first time that's happened against an individual.
Yeah.
But the connection between Clevenger and Bauer is, we know what that was.
They were tight.
They
They were very
They
tight.
were.
Now, I hope that these allegations are not true. But if they are true, I hope he gets what he has coming to him, both legally and whatever baseball doles out to him. Because, as much as these sports leagues have had a problem with domestic violence in the past, and maybe the pendulum has swung too far, and some think that it has, but they're going in hard now on the punishment, as we've seen with Bauer.
Yeah.
And in baseball's case, they don't care about criminal conviction.
Yeah.
It says flat out, even if you're not charged or convicted, we're going to do our investigation. And in our eyes, if it meets our standard of guilt, then we're going to punish you. And that's exactly what they did in the case of Bauer. Okay, fun with Tito's scooter. That's over with. Let's talk.
Did the quote thing real quick, Tyvis?
Yeah.
Did not see that coming. Trevor Bauer was my pick, too.
Yeah, Trevor was mine as well.
Great twist. Thank you for bringing that up. DeQuell's already texted me. I'll show you what he said after.
I think there's a 4-letter word involved, right?
I plead the fifth.
All right. Trade Nick Chubb. Whenever a team has an asset like that, particularly an asset that they seem to undervalue, we can have that discussion forever. But, there are a lot of Browns fans that are screaming, more Chubb, we want more.
Yes.
And then there are a section of fans that say, if you're not going to use him, then he's an asset.
What is this we're not going to use?
Rate him.
It's baffling.
What is this?
It's baffling.
Well, it's out there.
The man
That-
who
The origin test, by the way.
Yeah.
The man who got 15,000 yards. We going
I
to
know.
use him.
Something that we have been told by our people upstairs is that we want to make the viewers of the show smarter.
Right.
So sometimes when we see a obviously ridiculous thing going on Twitter, it is our responsibility to inform them that A, it's probably not going to happen. B, let's set the record straight, but also let's have a little fun with it. So,
Right.
I don't know, Earl, who started this Nick Chubb rumor? Anthony Alford on a radio station in town, an unnamed, unnumbered radio station in town, I guess mentioned this as a hypothetical.
It is a hypothetical. I mean, could it happen? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's hypothetical, and then it caught fire as should the Browns do this?
Sure.
We are here to tell you
This is
they should not.
This is
Well,
unbelievable.
If we had to put a stamp on whether or not, I think the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show does not support trading.
No.
Nobody on the show
But the
supports
question
trading
is-
Nick Chubb. But for the sake of this ridiculous discussion, in an attempt to make viewers smarter, what would it take?
It would take a game-breaking, big play wide receiver.
Not picks?
No, because we're not really good at picks. So we need a proven veteran.
We need someone that we know is good.
Somebody's young.
Give me Jamar Chase, and I'll
give me
think about
Jamar
trading
Chase,
Nick Chubb.
You can have Nick.
Yeah.
As ridiculous as that sounds, honestly, because the Bengals would never do that, as ridiculous as that sounds, Jason, that's what it would take.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about an elite, premier running back in the National Football League. And even though a running team may not win the Super Bowl, a team that's built to run the ball. But I will tell you this, it is increasingly more difficult to win a Super Bowl if you don't have a sound running game. Because you have to be able to make defenses prepare for both.
Yes.
And he's just a chip that is I think there are very few untouchables in sports. And if I'm listing my untouchables on the Browns, he's above Myles Garrett.
Would you trade Nick Chubb for Waddle?
No.
Just asking.
No.
This is because Jamar Chase is not going to happen.
No, Chase
I'm just trying to
Chase
see
would not
if
happen.
somebody measurable.
And, the Waddle thing that's interesting because Miami already has Hill. Yeah. So they have a game-breaking receiver that can take the top.
They're not using Waddle.
Well, I mean, it's almost impossible.
Like the Browns aren't using Nick Chubb.
They're not using him.
I mean, in this case, though, you already have a premier elite receiver. You only have one football. It's hard to use both of those guys to maximize their talents.
Mm-hmm. Stephon Diggs.
But I think about Stephon Diggs now.
He won't out.
I would think about Stephon Diggs.
He done with Josh.
Yeah, based on the video we saw between he and Josh Allen. Eli Apple, and we're going to talk about him coming up, tweeting out they need couples therapy.
Eli is I don't understand how people hate him.
We're going to get to it.
Save that. It's coming up in 15 minutes. It is ridiculous, though. I mean, the notion that they would trade Nick Chubb is ridiculous.
Nick Chubb, I believe, is on pace to go to the Hall of Fame. If he continues to what he's doing at the rate he's doing it for the next 5 to 7 years, he's going to Canton.
Right.
So he's not just an elite running back. Like, he could be one of the greatest ever. I fully believe that. So, I mean, running back may not be the position that it was viewed 20 years ago, 25 years ago. A lot of teams look at these guys as interchangeable. But he is elite, and I just don't think on a team trying to win, this is stupid.
Well, this is the thing.
He's one of 3 backs to carry the ball 300 times last year. Don't tell me they don't use him. They use him.
They're not using him to their liking.
Because he doesn't get the ball on every carry.
No, some fans want to see him.
He's not getting it 20-plus times.
Well, here's the thing. Some fans want to see him used like the Titans use Derrick Henry.
20 to 30 times
But here's the problem with Derrick Henry. There's a couple problems. First of all, he's Paul Bunyan. Okay, now I'm not saying that Nick is delicate, but there are few running backs in the history of the league that physically look like Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
He is an absolute behemoth. Number two, he's been dinged with injuries. Yeah. I know this past season he was, and we've seen what the Titans rely too much on Derrick Henry because when he's gone, they look pedestrian. Mm-hmm. They can't, especially when their quarterback Tannehill is hurt, which was a stretch that they went through this year. So I don't know that. I think that the Browns do use Nick Chubb enough. My beef with the Chubb usage, I don't want to see him on the bench in the fourth quarter. I don't. I just don't. The game is in the balance. He's your best player.
I agree.
Take the damn raincoat off of him and put him on the field, number one. Number two, why can't this ingenious brain trust that runs our offense figure out a way to use multiple back sets when you've got another back who's very dangerous as well? I just don't know why they couldn't weave those two guys together. That's my problem with how Chubb was used.
Well,
Ty, before you go real quick, I just want to clarify one thing. Derrick Henry's stupid durable. He's only played less than 15 games in a season once, Jay.
Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how many played this year?
16.
He only missed one game?
And it was DMP for rest, and it was that week 16 game that they played.
How many carries did he have the week after that one or before that one? Because he was hurt in a game and came out.
He had, to end the season, he had 30 carries, 23, 21, 17, 28, 32,
wow.
30, 28,
in my mind,
22.
They lost 6 games in a row.
The game they lost to Philly, he only had 11. So maybe that was the game.
Well, hand up.
That might have been it.
Hand up. I'm the idiot who said I thought Derrick Henry was wearing down this year about early in the year, midway through the year. Yeah,
no,
I
clearly
was wrong.
Did you really say that?
No, but,
oh, yeah.
No, but
yeah,
his numbers.
I thought because he got off to a slow start. And
he did get off to a slow start.
I just thought that the overusage of him was maybe catching up with him. But no, I was wrong.
Yeah, he looked just as strong as ever at the end of the season this year.
My thing on the Nick Chubb getting traded thing is that I think the person that would actually be the most upset about it would be Deshaun Watson. Because, I'm listening to Deshaun after games, and all he talks about is when he was suspended, watching Nick Chubb, and he couldn't wait to play with Nick Chubb because he grew up, I guess he grew up watching Nick Chubb as a younger or something like that, and he was like, I couldn't wait to be in the same backfield with him. Plus, people don't understand.
He's from Georgia. Sean's from Georgia.
Yeah, they don't understand the amount of pressure it takes off of Deshaun. If I could just turn around and hand it off and this guy's going to break and make these big-time plays, that makes it now, instead of 2nd and 10, we talking 2nd and 3. And I could throw a slant. I don't have to throw the home run ball. Or now I can set up play action, and now I can throw the home run ball because they're coming up to try to stop Nick Chubb. So I think Deshaun would actually be kind of upset by the fact that they got rid of Nick Chubb because of how
and he should be.
impactful he is to the run game.
He should be.
Yeah, it's nonsensical. It's not happening.
It ain't. No, it's not
Now,
happening.
what I think we're going to see next year is, I believe that, as much as I hate to say it, I think Hunt is out.
Yes, he's.
And I think we're going to finally get to see
Jerome
Ford and what he brings to the table.
Dearness Johnson coming back?
I hope so. I like Dearness, but here's the thing. You've got a couple of, if
Is he unrestricted or restricted?
I think he has 1 year under Brown's control, one more left. Did they extend him?
Well, he was unrestricted last year, and they re-signed him, and I don't remember.
I thought it was 2 of team control, but I could be wrong. We can look that up. But here, I thought the problem last year was they had a talent, they had a wealth of talent at a running back position. Dearness is a serviceable back, could start for a number of teams. I think Jerome Ford, what little we've seen of him, he's shifty, he's decisive, he's fast. Mm-hmm. I want to see him more.
I'm talking about Dearness.
I'm talking about Jerome Ford.
Oh, Jerome. Okay.
In the preseason, he had some
He
runs.
looked good.
And
that's the preseason.
Yeah, I know it is, but I like his decisiveness, speed.
He's a heck of a
and
returner,
picking a
I'll tell
lane
you that.
in returns.
Yeah.
And I think great returners also make great runners, running backs.
Cordero Patterson is showing you that right before your
So
eyes.
I just think that last year, one of the problems of the way our roster was constructed was we had the best running back room in the NFL, in my opinion. It's debatable, but
that's fair.
When you look at Hunt and Chubb in the starter role, and then you look at Ford and Dearness sitting back there saying, guys, what about us? I believe they had an abundance of talent there.
They did.
And we're clearly lacking in talent at the defensive interior line spot. So why wasn't there an effort to move Dearness Johnson for a defensive lineman?
Well, ain't nobody taking you're not about to trade a defensive tackle. First of all, running backs come a dime a dozen. Defensive tackles
Allegedly.
just not. You're not going to find. If you get a defensive tackle, you hold on to that guy.
But if
like
you're
a
a team, I always say you got to have a dance partner to dance.
Yeah.
I thought that there were teams that were clearly lacking a running game. When Bull kept saying they're not going to trade Hunt, he's untradeable, nobody needs him. I kept saying Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay needs him. They're a running offense.
So who are you insinuating they trade?
Well, at the time we were having the discussion around the wide receiver.
Oh, okay.
Because they have an abundance of wide receiving talent.
Okay.
So because we were so deep in our running back room, that did us no good last year. If you count the number of plays that Dearness Johnson and Jerome Ford were on the field last year.
He was a scratch a lot of the time.
I know he was.
Dearness was not active
right.
for a number of games.
So there he sits. He's doing your team absolutely no good. You have an asset. I don't know what they could have gotten for him.
But that proves the point that Tyvis is making. You think Dearness wanted to come back here and be number 3 at best?
And he probably doesn't want to come back next year.
If he's unrestricted, he's not coming back here.
But he's unrestricted. He can go anywhere he wants.
I imagine he's gone.
He ain't coming. Why would I do that?
No. But he could have left after last year.
Yeah, but if you're restricted.
No. Could he have left after last year?
If he was restricted last year, no.
I thought he was restricted.
He had an opportunity, because I was talking to him about this after his big Thursday night game. I thought he's made himself a lot of money.
Sure.
Somebody else is going to pay him. The fact that he couldn't find a better offer out there and had to come back here proves your point.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, he didn't want to come back here and be number 3 or 4 on the depth chart, but he didn't have a choice.
When you restricted, whatever the team that holds you offer you, you really got to take. Like, that's what it is. Unless somebody qualifies. It's like basketball. We match the offer.
Sure.
Come up with a better offer. We can match it. If not, we'll let you go. That type of thing. Nobody gave him anything. So he literally had to come back to the Browns. But now that he's unrestricted, he's free to sign with whoever
and I would
he wants.
doubt he would want to come back here.
No. If you got Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford as a drafted guy who's valuable in the return game, and I was a healthy scratch all season, no, I'm not coming back here.
Yeah.
Because the only reason he was a scratch, it not only shows that they weren't going to use him in the running game, but he wasn't even an asset on special teams. Like, they couldn't even utilize this man on special teams. Then that's what makes you become ineligible for the game.
It was a big surprise.
Or inactive, I should say.
He was, because to your point, when he played, he carried the Browns in that Broncos game. It, to me, felt like he's got a spot here moving forward. And then when they drafted Ford, it was a real head scratcher for me. So you can almost go back to the decision to draft Ford.
Well, they was planning on you got to prepare for the future.
It was a value pick.
I get that, but you drafted a guy at a position that wasn't a position of need. You always hear that. Teams need to address their weaknesses. And we knew what it was, and I know they drafted interior linemen. Mm-hmm. To your point, they're not good at picking talent, at least there.
Well,
their track record there is awful.
Defensively, but they hit with the Martin Emerson one. But I think that the reason, could it be that the reason that they drafted Jerome Ford, what is he? He's a guy that can catch the ball well out the backfield. He can run the ball. Who do you know on our roster right now that does that? Kareem Hunt. What year is this for Kareem Hunt?
Yeah.
It's contract year. So why would we pay Kareem Hunt and we got this rookie under contract for the next 3 years?
Is there does Dearness Johnson had no trade value whatsoever?
Nah.
I'm just surprised.
I mean, somebody would.
In his
what do you consider valuable? Are you willing to let him go for a 7th round, 7th round pick?
No.
All right.
And if that's the best they could get for him, no way.
Because now you go into the season.
But what do they get for him now?
Nothing. As you go into the season, you think
he's an insurance policy.
You thinking, oh, we got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt gets mad and says, oh, y'all not giving me the ball like that. Now he got an attitude problem. He requests a trade. Now we really can't let go of Dearness now because we might. If we get rid of him, we need Dearness.
If he pulls a hamstring, if Chubb pulls a hamstring.
Happens, we need somebody that we know can go in the game and get it done.
Obviously, they feel better about Jerome Ford than they do Dearness Johnson in terms of ceiling, long-term trajectory.
Sure. Well, he got a lot more playing time this year than Johnson.
Yeah,
did.
if they were all in on Dearness, they probably don't take Jerome Ford.
Correct.
But when Ford's sitting there in, what was it, the 5th round, and you look at this guy going, gosh, this is a terrific running back. Look at the value we're getting here. Is it a position of need right now? No. But in the 5th round, you're trying to draft guys who could be starters for you 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. And I think that's what the
I
Ford
know,
pick
but
was.
and you always have to look out for your midterm interests too. But for a team that was built to win now, I just feel better addressing the glaring weaknesses. And I know they thought they did that with their picks.
They took Perrion Winfrey in the 3rd round.
Yeah, they did.
They
took Alex Wright and Perrion.
Yeah,
they the year before they took Togiai, right?
Yeah.
And so they think
what
they're
the
addressing.
hell happened there?
Listen, he said this last night on the. There will be no Buckeye slander when I'm in my presence.
But my God, I mean, what happened with Togiai?
He hit the quarterback
one
time.
Stop.
And then he was inactive the rest of the year.
Could it be that the the D-line didn't do well last year, and it was a reflection of the coaching?
Sure.
Could that be a thing?
Could it also be?
Could that be a thing?
It could be.
Okay.
But could it also be that
now it's the coaching?
I'm just asking a question.
Could it also be, I mean, their tackles were terrible, and he still couldn't get on the field. Could it be that?
Yeah, that's bad, too.
It doesn't help.
It's bad, too.
It doesn't help. That's for sure.
He's under contract for another year. They have a new defensive coordinator coming in who specializes in D-line play.
Yes, he does.
So, anybody that's currently on the Browns roster that's at the D-line that hasn't been succeeding, if you can't get it now, this is it. Like,
and furthermore, the other way, if these guys suddenly become productive, then Joe Woods isn't getting a job.
Well, I was asked about that by him last night, and I was saying that I think Joe Woods.
He's going back to a position coach, right?
Either position coach or he'll be like the analyst. You know how
Flores in Pittsburgh,
right?
Schwartz in Tennessee.
Yeah, he'll be doing that.
Yeah.
And just for the simple fact that, he did have, when you look at his resume, he did have stretches along the season where his defense played really well. He needs to go sit under. To me personally, and this is not a knock on Joe Woods, when he went to San Francisco, he learned that defense. It's not naturally the defense that I think he wanted to run. I think he just learned it, he understood it, and he was like, okay, if I become a DC, this is what's fresh on my mind, I'm going to run it. So what he needs to do is he needs to go back to a place that's running that defense, Jets, San Fran, something like that.
Right.
He needs to learn how to make adjustments, because the thing about inheriting the defense is that you might not know the ins and outs of it. You might not know how to fix everything. But if you go under a guy who actually studied this defense and runs this defense correctly, you'll know how to make adjustments.
That's an interesting.
So
point.
Say if he went to the Jets and he sat under Robert Saleh again, and something happened over the course of a Jets game, and Robert Saleh grabbed the boards like, this is what we're gonna do, boom, 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 and it's fixed. Next time he gets a DC job and that issue comes up, he'll have an answer for it.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Yeah.
And it's exactly what you said. I was talking to, I used this quote after the Bills game. I walked away from the Bills game going, they have to fire him. Like, that's where I came around where it's like, they don't trust him. They don't trust his scheme, and it's not the scheme. Like you pointed out.
No, not the scheme.
It ain't the scheme, but the players had no faith in him and no trust in him. And one of the players I was talking to after the game said exactly what you said. When blank ain't working, change it.
That's what I'm saying.
Change something. They don't ever change anything. They
What's
never
sad
change it.
is
And
that-
perhaps because he didn't know what to change
That's
it
what
to.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm watching the game, like secondary wise. And I come on the show and I tell you exactly, before we even get to the guy, say, listen, if this corner does this, and communicates this, and this, it will be a no play. How, me as a player, a former player, know that?
Well, you
And
played in that
don't?
system.
That's what I'm saying. But I was in that system all my career, so I was able to study and learn all the checks and adjustments. Like I said, I don't know if he kind of got all of that yet, and I think that's why it would do him some service to go sit under somebody that knows the ins and outs.
Well, he's going to have to sit under a Salah.
Yeah,
or
gotta sit under
somebody
Salah
that's
or-
running it,
Chris Richard from the Saints, who's actually getting interviewed somewhere. He getting a DC. Oh, with the Dolphins.
I didn't see that.
He's getting a interview to be the DC at the Miami Dolphins. Shout out K. Rich, man.
All right, so he'll probably end up as a position coach under someone that's currently running that same offense.
Yeah, that's
and
what-
maybe he'll get another crack at
That
it.
would be great for his career.
Yeah.
So will Joe ever be a DC again?
Yes, he will
Wow.
be.
I agree.
He will be.
I agree. I do think he will
he
be
needs
too.
he needs to get more energy to himself.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to the exit interviews, there wasn't a lot of motivation. It wasn't a lot of energy on game day. He needs to let the Kevin Stefanski thing go. Kevin can sit back and be calm because he's the head guy. You need the guy at the top to be calm. You need him to be level-headed. No matter what, if things is up or down, you need somebody to be balanced. But as a position coach, especially on the defensive side of the ball, you act off of energy, emotions. That's what gets you going. And people want to see that excitement, that energy. So he needs to get that in his personality.
It's not there naturally.
Yeah, I don't
is it?
think naturally is there. He needs to become that guy, and I think he'll get more guys to feed.
Players, though, smell authenticity.
Yeah.
And they also smell fake.
That's true.
And if he's trying to bring this fake energy that isn't baked into his DNA, players going to be like, look at Joe trying to be a badass.
Listen, that's fine. It might be funny, but that funny might get you on the field and be like, listen, at least we turned up. Like, you got to at least have something to you. It got to be some substance to you. You can't just sit there and say, Boston Reno.
Tyvis, why are you not coaching? And I mean that in all sincerity.
We said that on the group thread.
Because I'm going to say it again, and I just did a podcast. I forget, I don't even know the name of it, but it was a good podcast, Buckeye related. But anyways, I am not going to be a coach, Jay.
Because of the family.
No, because it's not the family.
It's the commitment. Your family is football.
That's true, but that's not why.
And I know you're a family
because
man.
my wife was I was down to do it like a couple of years ago. But the reason being is because if I tell you, listen, Green Bay come out in this formation right here. Every time they come out in this formation, 98% of the time, this is the plays that they're going to run. This is the route you're going to get in the secondary. And we get to that game on Sunday, and they come out in that formation, and they run that route, and nobody make a play on that ball, I'm going to choke somebody. I'm going to literally run out there and choke them. You know why?
Because you told them.
No, exactly. But you know what they're going to say? The fans going to say, wow, why aren't they making plays? Like the coaches, it has to be the coaching. It has to be the coach. And I'm be sitting there like, I literally told them what was coming. So if you're not going to act, no, because now you're making me look bad. That's not going to happen. Not on my name. You won't play on my name, make me look bad. Not at all. So that's why I don't want to choke. I don't want to choke a player.
For what it's worth, there are a lot of folks on this staff that think that you would make a tremendous coach.
I appreciate
your personality, your intelligence, your experience, your resume.
I like to give it to the fans. I like to just teach the fans.
So you're the people's coach.
Yeah, I just want to teach.
You know
the
what?
fans.
We hope you stay in that role because we like you.
We got the people's champion and the people's coach.
Yes, we do.
And he said choking someone out, Jay. That's a perfect transition to our next topic here
Yeah,
with Mr. Ray Buchanan.
it is. So we're going to tie all this into Ray Buchanan. Follow me. Eli Apple, and I know he's your boy. I know he's a former teammate of yours.
I don't see nothing wrong.
But the
Let him set it up
question
first,
here
Tyvis.
is, yeah.
Let him set it up first.
So first of all, he's been talking a whole lot of trash. Cancun on 3 was one of the tweets.
That was great. That was genius.
It's funny, but he's writing checks that other guys in that locker room are going to have to help cash, and that makes for an interesting dynamic in the locker room. Is it funny? Hell yeah, I laughed. Cancun on 3. Now, the hand heart emoji pissed off a lot of people.
Because of DeMar.
Oh, act like
because of the hair.
You know why?
That's not.
He could have picked a million other emojis.
I don't think that was intentional.
He backpedaled as
That
all
was
good defensive backs do.
I don't think
That
was not intentional.
There were a million emojis. He could have picked the palm tree.
See, now
he could have picked an airplane.
What you doing is y'all giving him too much credit.
No,
you giving
you
him
know him
too
better than
much
us,
credit.
Ty.
You think that he somehow
that is the
wanted to
DeMar
do
Hamlin emoji, for crying out loud.
No,
He trademarked it.
That's an emoji that's being heavily used before that injury.
McNuggets.
He trademarked it, Tyvis. Listen, Tyvis, you know I love you. You know we're on the same 28-year-old wavelength, 29-year-old. I forget my own age. We're on that same wavelength. I know Jay and Jason are a little older. They don't understand emojis.
I do.
You know Eli Apple better than all of us, but there is a 0.000000000% chance that was unintentional.
So what you're saying is the on 3 means that it's going to be on Hamlin. Is that
it was just the Cancun on 3 was great.
Okay.
That was classic.
So is he saying so you said it's because there's 2 ways to interpret that. You can say Cancun on 3, meaning Hamlin's paying for it. Or you can say 1, 2, 3, Cancun.
No, that goes back to the NBA thing.
There's 2 ways.
It does go back to an NBA thing. It was not a DeMar Hamlin thing. Yes, his number is 3.
That's what I'm saying.
But I don't think that was intentional.
Okay.
But I do think the heart and hand emoji.
It could be a double entendre.
Yes, it was. However, when he apologized, because he did backpedal and said, I would never mean disrespect. He did not say, I didn't mean to use the DeMar Hamlin emoji.
Those players called him out and said, you can talk anything you want about on the field. Shaq Lawson was the one.
Shaq Lawson called him out big time.
Came out and said, you talk about DeMar, you're going to get your ass beat.
That's exactly what he said.
And he said, for real at the end. And then Eli came out and was like, I meant no disrespect to DeMar. That was not my intention. I just want to have fun.
Right.
So I do think he realized he used the wrong.
I think what he realized was that he pissed him off.
I think, like I said, if I'm apologizing for it, I wouldn't say
he didn't even really apologize. It wasn't an apology. He never said, I'm sorry. He tried to clean up on aisle 3, pardon the pun.
Y'all looking too deep. That emoji was not, I don't think he used that intention.
If I asked you what emoji is now synonymous with DeMar Hamlin, what would you say?
That one.
Okay.
But it was used very heavily on
I don't know
social media
what other context. What does that have to do with Cancun?
Yeah, nothing.
Like
how about a palm tree? How about an airplane?
It's a heart.
The Mexican flag.
How about a red heart?
Why do that?
Why use the hands in the heart?
Because it's the popular one.
Because it's synonymous with their teammate who was lying dead on the field.
No offense, it wasn't popular 2 weeks ago.
It was.
No, it wasn't.
Popular before the Hamlin thing.
It is now.
Yes, it was. You know what? Y'all are showing y'all age right now.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
He's the same age
29. Are we showing our age?
I have, to be honest, Tyvis, and I got your back on most things. We're on opposite sides of this one. I've never seen that emoji before.
Oh, I have.
Happened.
It was it was used a lot.
It's everywhere now. And it's synonymous with DeMar Hamlin. And they're sensitive to that, and he struck a chord, and he rightly tried to backpedal. Okay, let's leave that aside. Let's just forget that. Let's just say the Cancun on 3, forget that emoji.
Okay.
He then decides to be even more of an instigator, and he tweets out the clip of Josh Allen and Steph Diggs going in on, well, really, Allen was just sitting there. Stephon Diggs going in on his quarterback, and he tweets, couples therapy? Now, okay.
That's good. Tyvis, that was good. That was great. Eli Apple, kudos to you.
His trash talking is on point, okay? It's creative. But the question here is, and then Stephon Diggs tweeted back corn. Just corn emoji.
Clout chasing, what he said.
Yeah, clout chasing, which is probably true because his mom, Eli's mom, who's omnipresent.
Annie Apple, yeah.
Yes, she came out and she said, no, what we're trying to do here is get the hashtag something Eli Apple hate. And if we get so many hashtag Eli Apple hate, we're going to give $3,500 to Salvation Army.
Okay.
So she almost tries to make it seem like, oh, no, we're cool here. We're trying to raise money for a good cause. Don't hate on my boy.
Oh, I don't know about all that. That could be true, but I don't know about all that.
No, that's true. I'm not making that up.
Listen, Eli did the same thing last year in the playoff. This is like playoff Eli.
How long has he been in the league?
No, don't call him playoff Eli. There's already a playoff Eli. We need a better name than that.
How long has he been in the league?
Super Bowl Eli.
In the last 5 years, he has worn.
Eli been in the league 7 years.
Right.
This would be 7. 6
he came
years.
in with the Giants.
Yeah, he came in when I came in.
Since his Giants experiment went south, he has worn 4 helmets in 5 seasons.
That's why I can't take him seriously.
He's
not even good.
He's not this established corner.
Wait a minute. How is he not good? In the playoffs, last season, he made a lot of game-winning plays.
He's a
First
barking
of all, he's
chihuahua.
a terrible cigar smoker.
Well, that's fine. He's getting a lot of practice as of lately. So, I mean,
Okay, so there were a lot of guys that had problems with that.
He's a chihuahua
Cigars
barking at
are
Dobermans.
meant for the birds of babies and for the championship celebrations. You know that. I'm not making that up. That's long been
they
the
the
case.
divisional champs.
What?
They won the AFC.
Tyvis, you're moving the goalpost more than like a freight train going down
He is-
I-80. He's going to lengths
What?
I've never seen.
You know what?
man-
He's going to send
Wait a
this
minute.
guy. He's going to send him a whole segment and
the
say,
man
your
can't-
boy got your back.
Wait a minute. The man can't enjoy a cigar?
Let me just... So let me ask somebody who's been in many locker room
Jason,
celebrations.
He can't enjoy a cigar after a win?
If you light up a cigar, now I know in baseball, and I've never been a fan of this, I know in baseball when they clinch the playoffs, they break out the champagne.
Yeah.
And some teams at each round that they advance, there's another
All
champagne
teams.
celebration.
I think that's silly.
There are some, when the Indians were in their stretch, there were years where when they won a playoff round, it was business as usual. Now, whenever they win the ALCS to get to the World Series, there's a celebration. And then obviously when you win the World Series. So in my view, the equivalent of that is in the NFL. If you win the AFC championship, break out a cigar.
Yeah.
Hell, break out a bottle of champagne. Why not? But when you win a divisional round game, to break out a cigar, it's a bad look, Ty.
He's really
He's a chihuahua barking at Dobermans.
I really believe that
That's a great line.
This is just overhyped. Like, it really is. It's not.
If you're one of his teammates, are you not looking at him saying, stand down?
I'm sitting there laughing at this man. Like, really?
Oh, I'd be pissed.
All right, I'll give you a cautionary
The
tale.
funny thing about it is, back in my day, I was just like him.
Well, that's why. Now it all makes
Back
sense.
in college, I was just like him.
So you beat Purdue, you were lighting up a Snowy.
If Purdue was talking crazy. This is the thing. This is the thing about Eli. Everybody talks down on Eli and says, like, Eli's this terrible guy. It was, like, to the point where, like...
No, I don't think anybody's saying he's a terrible guy.
No, terrible player.
I don't even know
think he's
if
very good.
Yes,
I don't think he's very
are.
good.
See?
I don't think he's very
See?
I don't
good.
think
See
he's
what I'm
very
saying?
good either.
See what
There's
I'm
a
saying?
difference in terrible and not very good.
See, that's what I'm saying. So it's like
Tommy Togiai is terrible.
he's
Eli
been-
Apple's not very good. See the difference?
Eli's like reputation has been trash. He got cut by the Giants. He got released by the Saints. Got released by the Panthers. So it's
Five
like
teams,
he's-
four,
like,
4 teams, 5 years.
It's like he's not any good. So it's
Well,
like
but
so like
Tyvis-
no, listen, Jason. I mean, Jay, listen. If the media tears you down and everybody like makes you like. They try to destroy your name, and you finally get it. You make some plays that makes them happy. You think I'm gonna come up to the podium and be friendly with you?
he doesn't have to be friendly, but he doesn't have to smoke a cigar.
What's wrong with that? It's innocent.
If that's your goal, and that's now your season's a success, so you light up the cigar, that's fine. But if I'm on the Bengals and I lost the Super Bowl last year, I'm not going to do it at my stature because he'll kick my ass. But if I'm a defensive tackle, I go grab the cigar out of his hand, I throw it on the ground, I snuff it out, and I say, save that for the Super Bowl.
We got 2 more to go.
We've got other things
What
to
if
accomplish.
they smoking cigars after every game?
Are they?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't think they are.
What if they were?
Can I add something here, guys? This is important.
I don't think they are.
From the Quell.
Oh,
Who's watching? Shout out to Quell.
Here he go.
Hey, he might be on your side.
You already know he's not on your side. You already know it.
I know he's not. I know the
This is what
Quill's
Tyvis
not.
says, and I'm going to quote every word except one. I'm going to have to bleep out one word. The Quell, we love you, man. Quote, I would knock that beeping cigar out of his hand if I saw anyone light that up for a division title. Man, please. Well, look, he said it. I don't want to show you the bad word he said, but he did say that. That's the Quell. I ain't lying to y'all.
No, I believe that he would say that. And I
He
think
said,
a
what if
veteran.
Tom Brady was in the locker room? What would Tom Brady do? That was his next choice.
Tom Brady would have eaten the cigar.
Joe Burrow smoked cigars.
When? after LSU won the championship.
I think they had one after that when they was going to the Super Bowl.
Appropriate. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Wow, y'all is sad.
When you start celebrating milestone,
you act like they not going to the Super Bowl.
Are they?
Yes, they gonna smoke the Chiefs.
Then
yes.
light that cigar when you beat the Chiefs. And I've got no problem with that.
Well, he gonna smoke another one.
All right.
Tyvis should be a PR guy. Tyvis is the ultimate crisis management agent.
No, I respect him. He's defending his friend.
It's not because y'all people making this bigger than what it is. It's really not that deep. Like it's not. People talk trash all the time. Jalen Ramsey made a career. Richard Sherman made a career out of it. Like
they were good.
Okay,
they were good.
He's making plays.
Now I'm
when
gonna,
he went like they came at him and they made
he makes 2 plays and he's
Alexander literally hit the gritty in front of Justin Jefferson. Like what are you talking about?
Makes 2 plays and takes a victory lap and smokes a cigar.
Yeah,
Richard Sherman's a baller. He can
Richard Sherman can do whatever the hell he wants.
That's sad. No, he can't.
Okay, now
no.
Here's the cautionary tale.
No, you cannot.
I cut these for you. You better call him up now.
I know. Here's the cautionary tale. Let me educate you, young lad, because you don't remember a man named Ray Buchanan. You're far too young.
Yeah, I know.
But Ray Buchanan played for the Dirty Bird Falcons, who, by the way, they remind me, these Bengals, a lot of the Dirty Bird Falcons. They really do. Jamal Anderson was the running back. He invented the Dirty Bird dance.
It was like
he did this thing where he was every time he'd score, and it was great. Okay, everybody was having fun with that.
I was in college.
Icky Shuffle-esque. All right. Then Ray Buchanan, who was not just some guy. Ray Buchanan was, for many years in his career, he had at least 4 picks every year. One year, I think he had 7 picks.
Okay.
He was a baller, a legitimate baller. And when he left Indy after his rookie contract and signed with Atlanta, I believe he was the highest paid cornerback in the NFL.
What year was this?
It was in
98,
the late 90s.
Okay.
Late 90s. Okay, you were in elementary school.
Like 5.
I know.
Oh my
but I'm going
God.
to educate you.
I was in a dorm
So
at Kent State.
Ray Buchanan decided before the Super Bowl he was going to be, and Ray was a talker, but his nickname was Big Play Ray.
Okay.
Going all the way back to his days at Louisville in college. He always made the big play. In his rookie year, I think in his rookie year, he had like 6 picks and 3 pick sixes, okay?
I had it, but
and his hero was Deion Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
So Deion was the only guy that I was ever okay talking smack.
Okay.
Because Deion, they're not even going to throw your way. You're so good. But when Ray was doing this in the moment, I just remember thinking at Media Day, before the Falcons and the Broncos Super Bowl, I thought to myself, Ray's about to become a terrible footnote in NFL history.
He was saying, what was he saying? Give me a clip.
Roll the tape.
Do you want the sound or the video?
Give me the sound.
All right, take the sound bite.
You said some bad things about me? What do you say?
That's Shannon Sharp.
Oh, I know he ain't talking with them big teeth in his mouth.
Said he looks like Mr. Ed.
The only thing hiding that y'all can't see sometimes is when when he got the helmet on the field. When he got the helmet on the field, I'm telling you, you can't really see how bad that guy looks.
I've never called anybody ugly. Do I think people are ugly? Yeah, I think he's ugly, but I've never said that. You just did. He started it.
Shannon think he's pretty. He think he's pretty in the face. He might have a body though. Everybody look at his body and be like, oh, Shannon. But I'm telling you what, man, if you got a grill like that, man, I'm telling you, total reconstruction.
I'm not going to get into a peeing contest with a skunk. You'll lose every time. But I will say this. On Sunday, he get an opportunity to back up what he said. Is he my friend? No. Did I ever view him as a friend? No. Does I ever view him as an acquaintance? No. Do I like him? No. If I see him in a snowstorm, his truck is broke down, mine is going perfectly. Would I pick him up? No. Other than that, I could care less about Ray Buchanan.
Broncos 34.
That's not even.
Falcons 19.
That's not even great trash talk.
No, you know what? I'm disappointed with that clip. There was way better stuff that we left out.
That is the only thing you could find.
That sucks because there was
talk.
way better stuff from Ray Buchanan, who first of all wore a dog collar to Media Day. He was a la Eli Apple. He was trying to put the spotlight on himself.
Off the leash.
There it is.
There's no video of that, by the way.
In full disclosure, I worked with Ray for a number of years.
I would have never did nothing.
I'm very friendly with Ray Buchanan to this day. I like Ray Buchanan, but every conversation I've ever had with him about that, he's not saying these words, but here's what I always hear. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done it. Now, because he is who he is, he'll never come out and say, That was a mistake.
Listen, if Eli goes out here this Sunday and gets lit up by Kansas City, then okay.
Which, by the way, is a real possibility.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
But if Eli goes out there and makes a game-saving...
Then light up your cigar.
Okay. He did all of that last year already. That's what I'm saying. Like, he did all the way he's doing now, he did last year in the playoffs, the exact same thing. It didn't bite him until the Super Bowl. So why is it he's doing the exact same thing that he did last year?
You think he learned from
work last year?
Yeah, you think
he got to the Super Bowl?
Did it work last year?
They went to the Super Bowl.
Did it work for Ray Buchanan? Because they got to the Super Bowl too.
Listen, hold on.
Ultimately, the answer to that question is no.
The answer is no, but listen, it was.
So why do the same thing?
It was Cooper Kupp last year. Like
this year, it could be any number of guys.
It's Cooper Kupp. Who was stopping Cooper Kupp last year? The Triple Crown winner.
Now, to his credit, Ray Buchanan was going directly at Shannon Sharp.
One guy.
Before the game.
Yes.
He's now talking and barking about a guy they already beat.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But if I'm in the Bengals locker room, now I know how you would handle this, but if I'm in that Bengals locker room, either I would outwardly say, if I'm a team leader, I would outwardly come to him and say, look, let's save all of it. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to win this year. So let's save the cigars and let's save. First of all, I just don't think it's classy to bite back on an opponent that you just beat. Win with class.
Wait a minute. See, that's
Cancun on 3?
Listen, that's the thing. It's in this league.
I know.
It's dog eat dog. They do it. They do it to you.
Well, then don't lose.
Exactly. Now it's more motivation to not lose. I tell you what, I asked my boy Vaughn last year after after they lost Super Bowl. I let everything die. I talked to him about March. And I was like, well, we asked him, what did you think about Eli's stuff? And he said it was funny. Like, he just laughed at it. It's like, Eli just crazy.
There will be some guys that look at it, though, and say, that's just not how you operate as a pro.
You, me, and DeQuell come from a different generation.
I know we do. Well, I'm old.
We're the old guys now yelling at the clouds. Sorry, DeQuell. You're the old guy yelling at the clouds.
And
I'm with you, though. I'm with you.
Don't you want to talk trash so when you go against somebody, you get their absolute best?
It's not my style.
I don't want to talk trash because I know I'm going to show my ass 10 minutes later, and I don't want to hear about it.
No, and that's the thing. You got to have that confidence in yourself. Like, if I talk trash to you and you talk trash to me, I know when I line up against you, you're going to go as hard as you can. So when I shut you down, you know that I'm just better than you, flat out. Now I'm really going to say something to you.
But why? But you don't even have to.
Why not?
Well, when Jason writes a better article than Varden or Fedor, that's what he does.
He doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Jason's
beat
never
my
gone
chest
off the
and
top
hold it
rope.
up.
Look, I get it.
This is sport.
We are looking. we are looking like the older men that we are, and I get that. Is this fun on some level?
It's hilarious.
It is fun on some level.
I look forward to the end of the games.
I've been following this. I've been following sports in general for long enough to know that when you do stuff like this, the target, because everybody has a target, but the target on Eli Apple right now is getting bigger.
You want to see him fail, don't you?
I don't want to see him fail, but there will be guys on the Kansas City Chiefs that in the name of Steph Diggs and Josh Allen, there will be guys on the Chiefs that when they beat him for a touchdown, they're going to make sure they tell him about it.
That's why. Do they want to cook him because of that? I don't think the Chiefs like the Bills, actually. Like they're
but there's a brotherhood respect that goes on there.
I think it's just you want to make a play, and if you make a play, if you so happen to score on Eli, of course you're going to celebrate and make it because you scored on Eli. Plus, last year he talked down on Tyreek Hill.
Yes,
and
he did.
Yes,
he did.
So they probably remember that, and they're going to make an effort. So, which is funny because if they don't score on him or he makes a play.
You know how the Bengals after the game, this is going to be really interesting, and I can't wait to see how this plays out. The Bengals may well win. They might well win. I believe they do have the better team.
They're going to win.
I think they have the better team, but this is the NFL, and games are played on grass, not paper. Mm-hmm. I do think that the Bengals were flexing on the Bills after the win because they felt like they got too big for their britches. We better get a refund. I mean, that was NFL protocol. That wasn't the Buffalo Bills saying.
Nobody said nothing to Joe. You better send those refunds.
No, but in general, the thread after that game was, Cincinnati showed them for putting that link up on the tickets. That was the NFL. That's how they operate.
But I'm saying, why is Eli so getting shredded through the media? Joe Burrow said, they better send those refunds.
I don't co-sign Burrow either. I don't like.
But nobody's saying anything.
Yes, and by the way, not that it.
Why? What's wrong with that, Jason?
Well, Burrow are the Bengals where they are because of Burrow or Apple?
Burrow.
Okay.
What difference does that got to do
I
with
think
it?
driving the bus.
Eli's making plays.
No, I said the other day I think Burrow was aggravated that he was never. It's always Mahomes and Josh Allen and everybody else.
Yes.
That's always the conversation of AFC quarterbacks.
But now it's Patty, skip a couple of lines, Joe.
And everybody
Then
else.
everybody else.
Yeah. And I think that's what's got Burrow aggravated more than anything is he was never talked about in that Mahomes-Allen category. Really, it's Mahomes by himself. But it was always Mahomes, Allen, and then everybody else. And I think that
why
really
Eli
aggravated
can't
him.
have that same mindset.
Because it ain't Sherman and then Eli and everybody else.
Yeah.
That ain't the order.
Here's the thing. Here's what I've always
fall
said.
far from the truth, the Ohio State DBs.
Hilarious, man.
If you can back it up, that's why I was okay with Dion.
He is.
Let's see what happens moving forward. But I just don't like
I
cigars.
hope he get a pick six.
Listen, if he does,
I'm going to text Jay.
kudos to him.
I ain't coming in next week if he gets
If he gets a pick six, kudos to him.
Eli, you get a pick six. I'm coming on this show next week with an Eli Apple jersey.
And you should.
Right now.
And Travis, this is the last thing moving to Cavs. If he gets a pick six, we are all wearing Eli Apple jerseys next week. We'll wear one from each team.
Let me ask you
the last
this:
4 years.
higher likelihood, Eli getting a pick six or Eli getting burned for a touchdown?
Pick six.
Burn for a
Go
touchdown.
Bucks.
I'm putting me a burn for
Burn
a
for a
touchdown.
Pick six. Go Bucks.
Listen,
Cavs.
I love the Bucks too.
Cavs.
But I just-
Cavs. It's only
Cavaliers last
10
night.
minutes in your guys' ears, bro.
Down 11 in the fourth at the Knicks, which was a little perplexing, even though they lost by 11 to the Knicks earlier this year. They clawed back. Donovan Mitchell played. He clearly looked okay for most of the game. Down the stretch, he just wasn't good. Missed some shots.
He did miss some
He
shots.
took the shot as on the last possession.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. I didn't like him penetrating against a 7-footer. I thought there could have been a foul called.
He kind of went. He went straight up, so it really wasn't a foul.
I mean, there was contact.
Yeah,
There
I
was-
can
there was
understand that
contact.
he was trying to get the contact.
Maybe if that game's in Cleveland, he gets a whistle.
Maybe.
But in New York, he obviously didn't get it. Ball kicks back out to Mobley, who takes a shot from the elbow. Didn't love it when he took it.
You know
and he
what?
missed.
He was trying to get it to Karis LeVert, but Mobley just kind of intercepted.
He
it.
Yeah,
did.
I think
Mobley
you're right.
picked it.
I think
Yeah.
you're exactly right.
And I'd rather have Evan Mobley take the last shot than Karis LeVert, so I'm okay with
cares
that.
the way it
was
worked
standing
out,
there.
it was an L.
But it's a tough shot.
It's an L. The troubling thing for me was Julius Randle had 8 3-pointers. I mean, I think he just hit another one at Madison Square Garden. He finished with 36, 13 rebounds. And there were a lot of things that I didn't like, but the one thing that glares at you is that guy shouldn't have 36 points
that was-
in a game where Mobley and Allen are playing. He just had too many open looks. He hit too many shots. What do you make of the loss last night? Are we overstating the importance of it?
I mean, they had a game earlier on where Brook Lopez made 7 threes against
It's a
them.
fact.
So, like, if who do you want shooting the ball, Brunson or Julius Randle? I'll take my chances with Julius Randle. Like, some of it, I think, is you want him taking those shots, and you're going to play the odds that he's not going to make them. Well, he made them last night, so you tip your hat to him and you move on. I don't know. I didn't. We had the game on. Ty and I were recording a podcast last night.
Both watching the game.
Yeah.
He's talking on the podcast.
Yeah, we had the game on in the background, but I didn't see every single play of it. It's a bad loss only because they were in position to win it. I don't mind Donovan going on Julius at the end of the game. It's a mismatch. It should be in Donovan's favor, you would think. So I thought it was okay. But I do think just in general, the Cavs' late game execution,
Yeah.
it's fair to have questions about it right now.
Just for some odd reason, it just turns into ISO Donovan. I think that's just kind of lazy. Like, I get that Donovan's the best player on the team and you want him taking the shot, but at least draw something up. Like, come on. Do something.
When Kyrie was early in his career and Byron Scott was the coach, Byron used to call 4 flat in every situation, end game scenario, where literally you put the ball in Kyrie's hand at the top and the other 4 dudes line up along the baseline and it was go make a play. And I asked him about it. And he's like, he's the best guy on the floor. He's our playmaker. I want the ball in his hands at the end. Give him a chance one-on-one to go make a play with somebody. And if you run pick and roll with Donovan, you know, now maybe you're forcing the ball out of his hands and forcing it to somebody else because maybe the Knicks trap him in the corner. You know what I mean?
But don't you want your best player to have the ball in his hands? Why? Because ultimately he's going to make the best decision.
And that's what
whether
they
that
have.
be him taking the shot or him passing out of it.
And that's what they had. They had the ball in Donovan's hands at the end of the game in a mismatch against a big where he has a couple of options. He just missed the shot and didn't get the foul.
He got by the first guy.
He definitely got – it was Julius Randle. He took him straight to the cup.
He went right by him.
I think it was Jericho Sims.
My problem was I was wondering, did they let him get by him? Because you got a 7-footer standing at the rim. Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's true.
And it didn't work out.
I think that
they almost baited him into that.
The one thing that looks like it's becoming a problem is that our team doesn't do well against stretch bigs. I think that's what it is. If you got a stretch,
you see that, Jay?
If you got a center that can shoot Julius Randle is a center/forward. You got a guy that can stretch the floor out and can knock those 3 downs. That's twice this year.
Well, a lot of teams have problems with guys like that.
That's true.
And that's what I meant. Why I mentioned Brook Lopez earlier. The Bucks had a game earlier this year where Brook hit 7 threes. But if you tell me either the ball's going to be in Giannis's hands or we're going to have Brook shoot 7 threes,
yeah,
I'm going to take Brook shooting 7 threes every time.
That's a fact.
And he happened to make them. So I do think at times it feels like the Cavs are giving up too many wide open threes, especially that Golden State game the other night. Oh my God, dudes were shooting wide open.
No one near them.
So there are times where I don't know if it's a rotation thing. I don't know. I haven't looked at it that closely, but there's times where it's an issue, 100%. But it's a young team. They're figuring it out. This is the first time with a real closer in Donovan. Like Darius is not a closer. He's not the guy he was last year. But if you're trying to win a title, I think you want the ball in Donovan's hands, not Darius's hands.
When you do it that way, I love the word you used, lazy. Because when you're doing it that way and you're just going on the assumption that it can't be Darius, I don't know why it can't be Darius sometimes. Because if it's always going to be Donovan and the opposition is going to know that, it's easier to stop. If you have a second option that is a legitimate option that you know they're not afraid to go to, I saw Darius be that guy last year. And I don't know why he's having a problem being that guy with Donovan on the floor, but he is.
Well, he wasn't at Memphis. He didn't have Donovan on the floor, and he missed an open 3. He tried to get to the rim. He got the shot blocked. He's not very big. Darius is not very big. I know. And it's going to be an issue. He's got to get bigger and stronger. But
if everyone's going to collapse on Donovan, he'll get open looks.
I don't want to put Donovan in the LeBron category. He's not. But the ball is always in LeBron's hands at the end of the game. Right. The ball is always in Michael's hands at the end of the game. That's where and that's why those guys are so good, because you know where it's going, and Kobe's going to make that shot anyway. Now, Donovan is not in that category or in that class, but that's his role. That doesn't mean he takes every last shot. He can make the open pass to Darius. But that's why Donovan's here, is you want the ball in his hands, and coaches will tell you. I've mentioned Mike Brown a couple times. I'll go back to the Detroit game, the LeBron game, when he just scored
the last 25 points.
Yeah. And I said, were you drawing things up? He's like, I didn't draw anything about. He said, just give it to him. Just go.
Play ball.
Just go.
Yeah.
And he said, we had a timeout where the coaches were going to tell him something. And Mike goes, no. We ain't telling him nothing.
Let him go.
Put the ball in his hands and let him cook.
To your point, he's the rare bird that you can do that with. And Donovan is not that guy. I was disappointed in not just the end of game scenario, but I thought his last 3 shots were not great shots.
He shot
2
threes, right?
Yeah, but I thought, in that situation, I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's JB. I'm losing a lot of confidence in JB.
A lot of people are.
Well, close and late. Look, that's where NBA coaches make their money.
That's where they make it.
Mm-hmm. That's where they're making their money. And they're really making their money in playoff series close and late.
Yes.
And if it's problematic in regular season close and late, what do you think it's going to be in the playoffs?
That was my big knock on him last year in the play-in game.
Right.
I think he just flat out got out, especially that Atlanta Hawks.
With you. No, I agree.
Flat out got out coached.
I agree 100%.
And they may have to ultimately make changes. Not firing JB, but in terms of offensive and bringing in offensive minds. There's other things that you can do to try and mitigate that, because I can't argue. I do think it's a concern. Especially in a playoff series, and that's why I thought it was so detrimental to the Cavs not to get that playoff series last year. JB needs it just as much as the players do.
They need the reps. Yeah.
But the coach needs it, of knowing we're going to play this team 7 times, or, okay, we can run this screen action over here, or we can get Evan on a short pick and roll here, short side pick and roll, but they're going to take that away, so now what's my counter to that? Right. JB needs that just as much as the players do.
What do you think of Thibodeau, by the way, before I make my next point?
I like Tom.
I do too. I like him a lot. He spent a year when he was kind of, between jobs.
Yeah.
Isn't he the one that got kicked out of Chicago for being too?
He plays all his players 47 and a half.
Ice.
He's great for one season, and then it goes downhill after. Just
there is a burnout factor with him. In his year after Chicago, he came to ESPN, and he was a very smart guy. He went on kind of a NBA coaches tour where he would go to San Antonio and spend time looking at Pop and studying with Pop, and Pop was sharing some of his knowledge with him, which I thought was brilliant. He used that time to sort of go into the lab and to become a better coach, and I always respected him for that. And we had some off-air conversations about that process, and I've always thought, I just think he's a great tactician. I think he's a really good coach, but I thought last night when the Cavs did come back, I immediately thought to myself, coaching's going to be the difference down the stretch, and they've got the edge. And I think that's what we saw play
That's
out.
what scares me about the Cavs. And I was thinking that before this season started. When they got Donovan, I was excited, but I was like, I need to see JB develop as a coach.
And I hope he can.
I hope he can.
Because I think the team responds to him.
When they come down to it in them playoffs, that's going to be –
yeah.
Because you got all the pieces. You got the Johns and the Joes. It's going to come down to the X's and O's.
It will.
And he's done a really nice job instilling a defensive mindset in this team.
Yes.
And he should get full credit for that. It's funny because it feels a little bit like Mike Brown the first time around, where everyone defends, and the offense was a little scattershot. At times we sort of get that same feeling here now.
Yeah.
But he's young enough in his career. This is his first real opportunity. I said it before, I thought he got screwed in Memphis. He was an interim in Houston, didn't get that job. Got fired in Memphis when I didn't think that was warranted. This is his first real opportunity now to see what he can do as a head coach.
I'm pulling for him. I want him to be the guy.
I want him to be the guy as well.
I do, and he might end up being the guy. But sometimes you've seen this where organizations grow at different rates, and I'm a little worried that this thing got too big too fast for the driver. And what I mean by that is he might be the perfect guy for a team who is on a slow trajectory to getting better. Mm-hmm. But what this Cavaliers team did overnight was went from one of these teams that has a chance in the East to here. Mm-hmm. And if the coaching talent isn't matched up with the playing talent, sometimes that becomes very obvious when you're watching playoff series in particular, when you're drawing up a lot of sets, coming out of timeouts, close and late. Like, I hope he's up to that task.
But what frustrates me is that he's had successful games against. I mean, he beat Boston twice.
I know.
He's beat Milwaukee. He's beaten some good coaches.
In the regular season, where we've learned that some teams take it seriously every night and some teams don't.
And Boston, Milwaukee do not.
Boston and Milwaukee are veterans, and
don't.
they know to feather the accelerator. Nobody's floored to the pedal to
Cavs
the metal.
beat Boston twice in like November, December.
Yeah.
Boston don't give a damn about games in November, December. They're playing for May.
It matter a little bit. That second time around, it matter a little bit more.
No, maybe a little more because they wanted revenge.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You want to impress me? Beat Boston twice in a row in May.
That would be really nice.
It's a totally different thing doing it in November.
That's true. I agree with that.
Here's the one thing that I hate saying this. I hate saying this out loud, but I've said this privately to some people. Like the Cavs transition from the end of the championship era into the start of this rebuild, I thought they made a ton of mistakes, and I wrote about them at length and angered a lot of people in the organization. And they've recovered from most of them. I thought they totally mishandled Colin, the Kyrie trade. They've tried to fit Colin into a role he wasn't capable of handling and all that stuff. But they've been able to pivot and adjust, and they've been able to correct and fix a lot of the mistakes that they made from that whole transition. The one that may haunt them is firing Ty, because Ty Lue is in a different class when it comes to what we're talking about. ATOs, postseason series, adjusting, making adjustments. Ty is in a different level.
Yeah.
And I don't know that JB's not in that class, but I know Ty is.
And he's got the reps.
He's
been there and done that. That gives him cred with the players.
Ty Lue is an elite head coach, in my opinion. I love Ty.
I agree.
I think he's fantastic. And I remember when we were getting toward the end of the run and everyone wanted to fire Ty and everybody was blaming Ty. I'm like, listen, I'm telling you right now, Ty is what is holding this together. Ty is not what was wrong with the Cavs. Ty is what's holding this thing together. I think he is elite. And that may be the one thing that they may not be able to recover.
How much better is this team if Ty was the coach today?
Well, Ty is a veterans coach.
He would be. It would be right now. You wouldn't be able to tell because he's preparing.
Would you feel more
for the
confident
playoffs.
going into the playoffs?
Yes.
I would too.
And Ty was really good for a veteran team, and because he let him go get drunk for 3 days in Napa in the middle of the season. Like, all right, go ahead. Like, we're gonna stop everything we're doing. Y'all go to Napa and have fun, and we'll catch you on the backside. And he gave them enough rope because it was a veteran team, and he knew how and when to pull them back in and get them ready for the playoffs. Ty is absolutely a postseason coach that I would want if my team's going to the playoffs. I want Ty because everybody praised Brad Stevens for people ATOs after timeout, plays coming out of timeouts.
Yep.
It's crucial in playoff series. Brad Stevens
It's
got
the
all
difference
this
in
credit.
playoff series. I really believe that.
Oh, it's for sure. And Brad got all this credit in Boston for being this ATO mastermind. Ty cooked his ass.
Yeah.
Just cooked him in playoff series on ATOs, and he never got the credit for it that he deserved.
Yeah, it's too bad. All right, true or false is next, and we're changing it up. I guess there's a different way I don't know what we're doing, but Mikey says it's different.
It's just
this week.
true or false advanced. This is true or false 2.0. So
All right.
we've taken the production level of this game, and we have upped it
to a new
significant
level?
notch. Yes, and
Oh
once
my
again,
God.
I want to severely and sincerely apologize to the UCSS viewers for my putrid performance.
Did you get any right last week?
I felt the hate.
Who won?
You did.
Okay.
And you know what?
I only asked that because Ty wasn't.
Tyvis wasn't here.
Wait a minute. Eli Apple, right there. That right there.
I asked a question. I didn't smoke a cigar.
That right there that's Eli Apple-ish.
Okay, hold on.
Jay's never smoked in his life before.
Neither did Eli Apple. That was
Pretty obvious.
If
All right, so
I
here's-
smoked, I would do it cool as hell.
everybody
My
have
boy
their
was doing
boards?
this right here. Go look back at the tape.
This is fine.
You should break that down on the telestrator.
Does
I don't
everybody
smoke,
have
so
their
I
whiteboard?
wouldn't
I don't either, but if I did, it would look better than that.
Everyone has their whiteboard.
I suck at this game.
Bull played this morning. Bull went 4 of 8. Just a heads up.
So
Bull
he
went
got
4 of
4
8.
points. So is that the bar? Can he win?
8? We have 8 questions?
There's 8 questions
oh my
here.
God in heaven.
Today's subject. Are you guys ready? Drum roll, please. Director Steve.
Oh, hey.
How well do you guys know Director Steve? And you will see there's an added production bonus in here. So let's take the first question. Steve, cue the music and take question 1.
Here we go, man.
True or false? Director Steve was once an active participant in a live Super Bowl halftime performance. Is that true or false?
Boom, 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 boom.
Tyvis says
Jay Apple.
Jason says false.
I don't think you can dance, Steve. Sorry. Prove me wrong.
I know Steve. I know that Steve is a world-class musician.
He's in the band.
Oh, that's
He's a
true.
band guy.
That's
but I'm
true.
going to say it was like a college bowl game he performed at halftime.
So you're saying false,
But
Jay?
I'm saying not a Super Bowl, no.
Let's see.
That is true. I was at the San Diego Super Bowl, and I was
told
part
me
of the
that.
audience. We held up cards at halftime, made it look like a little record spinning around. So that is true.
He actually told me that he went to a Super Bowl.
Wait a minute. What Super Bowl was that? Was that the
Chargers
Buccaneers and the...
Chargers
San
versus
Diego.
somebody else.
Wait, the San Diego's hosted a lot of Super Bowls.
98. He has no idea who played. He has no idea who played, but it was in San
Well,
Diego.
the Bucks
in
were
98.
2002 season, 2003. That was also in San Diego. So everybody in the crowd was part of the halftime show. Trick question, man. Trick
counts.
question.
Question
It
number
counts.
2.
By the way, I like the Jeopardy touch where you go to the subject to
I
give
told
the
you we
answer.
stepped up the production
That's hot.
value here. We can't do it with real players, but with real Steve.
That's Eli Apple next level.
Yes. Okay, question number 2. Director Steve won an ugly Christmas sweater at a live taping of The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon.
And I'm going to go 0 for this whole show.
Tyvis says false. False. Jay said true. Jay has a chance to. Jason has a chance, to tie it up. Let's see the answer, Steve.
As many times as I've been to New York City, I have never seen Jimmy Fallon, so that is completely false.
Suck at this game.
Jason may be the worst true or false of all time. He could be the Athletics' greatest Cleveland writer
You know
and the
what?
world's worst
I've
true
got
or
a
false.
new idea. Try this. Whatever your gut is, go the
other way.
Yeah.
Question number 3. As it stands so far, Tyvis is 2-0. You have these scores wrong already, Anthony. We're 2 questions in. You got the scores wrong. That's on.
Yeah.
Tyvis is 2-0.
We're all 1-1.
No, I'm 0-2.
Oh, you're 0-2?
Tyvis, did you get the first one wrong?
Yeah.
I did not.
No, he got it right.
Yeah, he got it right. It's 2-0, 1-1, 0-2. Anthony my game has been stepped up.
That belt is coming on.
Question number 3. Director Steve and his friends used to play in the sewers when they were bored as kids. Is that true or false? Was Steve a sewer kid?
I hope I'm wrong on this, Steve, because I've shaken your hand.
True. 3 trues. Will everyone be right? Let's know.
Well, that's actually true. We went to, it wasn't a sanitary sewer, it was a storm sewer. There were a couple open grates and stuff like that. We go in a few feet, so yeah, we did. We did that. That's absolutely true.
See, I talked to Steve. I know Steve.
They also used to eat raw hamburger. They used to do all kinds of things, play into traffic. Look at that graphic. Oh, Anthony, that wins an award.
So Tyvis, you are 3-0. Jay,
I'm 2-1.
you got to put Jay in. Okay. You have J and J. Here's the issue. This is why I screwed it up. He literally wrote J and then just put J for Jason.
You're
So he's
almost
now
as
confusing
bad this
himself.
week as you were last week as a contestant.
This is not me. I've been flawless. This is Anthony keeping score here. That's messing himself
Wait a
up.
minute.
Okay.
I was here last week.
Question
And
4.
you watched me win.
No, Bull
Let's take
won
it.
because he dropped the parlay. He said that if Bull would win, you would come
right.
in second and G
You're
would
right.
come in third. And
Question
Bull
4.
actually won.
Director
It was,
Steve.
I won 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When you weren't
Suffered
here.
a season-ending hamstring injury during the first game of his adult softball league in 1998.
Boom, 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 boom.
See, this
boom,
one's tricky because I
boom.
didn't talk to Steve, and I know Steve played softball, but I don't know if he never said anything about an injury. So
Well, now I'm changing my answer.
Tyvis says false. Jay says true. And Jay Crawford says
Jason
false.
says true.
One of you guys is right. 2 of you guys are wrong. Steve, let's play it.
That
Damn.
is true.
I'm back.
I played 1 season of
I knew he
softball
played.
from my alleged
I
friends
didn't
talking
know he
into
got
it. I
it. He
hit
took
a
his
first
hamstring.
base line drive, and I went running as fast as I could. Ended up pulling my hamstring, and I was done for the season.
Wow. It's a very short-lived career.
I shouldn't have said nothing.
You
Next
should have
time-
said nothing.
During the next answer video, what the hell is Earl playing chess in the background? What's going on?
Earl's producing. He's making graphics for today's show.
These were recorded upstairs in
Upstairs
the
in our
office,
office,
right?
yeah. Earl's making graphics that you see on today's
It looks
show.
like he's playing chess.
Well, little tease overtime segment. Just stick around. You'll see Earl do something else. Is my
Awesome.
promise. It's promise you. It's the funniest overtime segment we've ever done, guaranteed. Okay, question number 5. Director Steve played drums for the Ohio University Marching Band. True or false?
Boom, boom, boom,
Hold on, wait a
boom,
minute.
boom.
Did he play drums?
Jay feels confident.
I did. I'm
He's
changing my
erasing
answer.
it, second guessing himself. Jason says true. Tyvis says false.
I don't
Jay
think he
says
played
false.
the drums.
Oh, he definitely played the
He's
drums.
a drummer, but I don't think he was a drummer in the OU band because he would have told us that.
Let's find out.
Well, I was band president, but it was in high school. I never played drums for Ohio University.
Yeah.
Tyvis and Jay Crawford
I'm glad I changed my
You
answer.
shouldn't have.
were right there.
You shouldn't have.
So
Should've
after
just took the
5,
loss.
our score,
No, I don't
Tyvis
take
has
the-
4. He has tied Bull. 1 more, and Bull cannot be champion. Jason has 2. Jay has 3. Our scoreboard has been cleaned up. Currently a 1-point lead for Tyvis. Next one. Director Steve was at Game 7 of the 1999 World
Oh
Series.
my God.
97. I was there. I don't remember seeing him.
Sit brag, bro.
He is hilarious, man.
But we did have a conversation. No. I take that back.
You know
We did
what?
not.
I don't know.
Yeah, we did not have a conversation.
I feel
Let's
good
see the
about this.
answers.
I feel good about this.
Tyvis says false. Jay says true. Jason says true. 2 trues and a false. And the answer.
Well, believe it or not, that one is actually true.
Bang!
I was in Miami at the World Series for Game 7. I was working freelance, and I saw Jose Mesa mess it up.
You know what's funny? Because I wanted to say true so bad. I think Steve told me he actually been to every.
I gave you the swervy derb because I said I was there.
No, that's not why.
And then I said, oh, wait, I remember having a conversation with him, and I do remember this conversation where he said he was there. But I had to say, no, that was something else. I
Was
didn't
that
have
correct
conversation.
answer?
Well, I
Jay
wasn't
and Tyvis
listening
are
to
now
nothing
tied
you
at
were
4
saying.
apiece.
I'm going to just tell you that.
They're now tied at 4 apiece. Question 7, 2 more to go.
You can't finish, so I'm not worried about you.
2 more to go.
Speaking of which, I had an episode.
Director Steve was the emergency backup for Slider while working for Sports Channel Ohio.
It sounds like something he would do.
Well, the funny thing is, yeah.
False from Tyvis. False from Jay. False from Jason.
1,000%.
3 falses.
Damn it.
Let's take it, Steve.
While it's true that I work for Sports Channel Ohio, it is completely false that it was Slider's backup.
Because it's an intern. It's the backup.
We have a bunch of tiebreakers ready to go, by the way.
So Bull is out.
we have one more.
You and I are now
Bull is
tied
out.
at 5.
Bull is out.
How many questions
And,
left?
and where are you? You're up there.
4.
He has 4.
I got 4.
So
I'm lurking. I'm
Going
lurking.
against your gut has worked.
I don't know anything.
All right. We have
Last
how many
question
left?
before we go to tiebreaker. This is the last real question. This is a big one. Director Steve is a massive Madonna fan. True or false? Look at that face.
I have no
Madonna.
idea. I have no idea. He is. He is.
I'm just trying to go opposite them.
It's for all the marbles. Tyvis says
We
false.
got a winner!
Jason says true. Jay says true, which means we will have a winner one way or the other. Steve, let's tell the people
Well, that
who
one is
won.
true. Madonna was really big in the 80s when I was in college. Love her music and actually going to the
What is
concert.
the matter with you?
And there it is, Director Steve. Now we're going to bring Mike Kubinski from the Cleveland Clothing Company out here, so I'm going to do some promo reads. Jay, you have earned the belt. How'd you like the Jeopardy touch with the extra production here?
First of all, I want to congratulate you guys on wonderful production elements. I think that what I think we should do moving forward is whoever is the subject of our true and false moving forward, we should have the same exact production quality. So if Nick Chubb is the guy next week, you need to go to Nick Chubb and actually videotape him giving us all the answers. I love that.
You know what was great, by the way? For the first time in forever, our camera worked. You see how crisp that was?
It was great.
They fixed it. We've had to send it back 3 times to Sony. Sony finally has got it to a point where it
Kudos
works
to Sony.
exactly how
That's
it
our
wants.
field camera.
Thank you. Yeah, that's our field camera. That's the
Yeah.
one we shot Tyvis' thing with, and the zoom didn't work, and we had
Right.
all the issues.
I remember.
It is now working.
All right, good.
Anthony, Director Steve needs to talk to you before we bring Mike in here. While we're waiting for Mike, and Mike, thanks for coming in here. If we haven't told you guys already, let's remind you guys about our membership tiers. For $1.99 a month, that's less than $2 a month, you get all the loyalty badges, custom emojis, membership-only community post. It is pretty special. For $4.99 a month, Steve, what are you guys yelling about behind me? Director Steve is so flabbergasted that he was just the star of the show. He dropped the F word yesterday. Wait till you see what he said in overtime. I promise you it's worth it. And you can watch that overtime video if you are a coaches tier member. Overtime videos, member shoutouts, discount codes for merch, including from Cleveland Clothing Company. That's why Mike's here. And all the starter tier perks. Mike Kubinski from Cleveland Company now.
Woohoo!
What's up, Mike?
Welcome, Mike. Welcome. I love your stuff.
Oh, thank you.
I love your stuff. I just have an
It's in the way.
I just have an issue with how old I look. Is that really me?
I apologize for that. It wasn't me doing that. I'll tell my graphic designer, but I don't think you look that old. It's just it's a caricature.
Graphic designer, I think he.
So caricatures, they hone in on distinct characteristics, obviously, and then they accentuate them. For the love of God, I look 90. So I must really look like a caricature artist. I mean, because I think everybody else is dead on. But I just... So I got that out of the way. But I love the design.
So you wanted a salt and pepper look?
Oh, God. I'm just all salt, bro. Am I that gray? I don't...
Yeah, you are.
I mean, my sidewalls are gray.
You're not that gray. You're not that. That's like white.
We could have added a little more dark, a little more shading.
Salt and pepper
so
in
for
there.
version 2.0, we can have more pepper than salt.
Yes.
Well, I'll have you know that I'm dead on. That is me, 1,000%. It is nice to be.
Listen, you guys look so good. That's what makes me even more angry. I'm like, what the hell did I ever do to Cleveland Clothing Company, where he made everybody else in the picture look great, even Bull, who does tend to have Beavis and Butthead teeth there. If you look closely at it, it looks he's got a little like Beavis and Butthead look to him,
and little T-Rex arms,
and but it looks like Bull.
Yeah.
Well,
but you know what? They did give me some bicep love. So I'm just now noticing that. So that's cool.
My daughter, Ava, is so mad I'm not on the shirt. I'm like, honey, I wasn't part of the show when they designed it. She's
I
like,
know.
It doesn't matter. You should be on it. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? I wasn't part of the show.
We'll have to do an add-on.
Take the shirt and hand draw you in. Mike,
do a little
in all
add-on.
seriousness, that we got the nonsense out of the way.
Yeah.
I love your designs. I love first of all, the commitment to Cleveland. I think we're the t-shirt capital of the world. We have to be, right?
It seems like that, yes.
How did this whole thing for you get started?
I was actually just kind of bored. So I'm a graphic designer, and I was a junior designer at the time, and I was doing package design, so like the backs of bottles and labels, and so I was doing a lot of black and white precautions, directions, and I needed a creative outlet. So this, just kind of was born out of that. There wasn't really anything like this at the time before we were the t-shirt capital of the world.
You guys kind of forged the way, didn't you?
Kind of. Well, we have to talk about Daffy Dan first. Like that's forged
true.
the way for all of us.
Yeah, that's true.
But so we were kind of like the renaissance of Daffy Dan.
Do you have a favorite shirt that you've designed? Because there's been so many of them. Do you have one that just stands out to you?
I always like our fake surf club, the Burning River Surf Club, which after designing it, I found out there are Lake Erie surfers, and
really
it is a real thing. So that was fun to do and make Cleveland a tropical place. And Jason's wearing one of my other favorite designs is Vacation in Cleveland. And
that is a good one too. It's a really good one.
I like the Cleveland's not so bad, have a beer.
Yeah.
You have a lot of their clothes. You wear a lot of it.
He always says that that's his favorite.
I love that one.
All those were born around the same time. Like we were getting a lot of hate from the national press, and so we came out with Vacation in Cleveland. Cleveland is not so bad, have a beer. That was out of a Forbes rated us like the 42nd worst city at the time, but then someone else rated it as the best place for microbrews. So put those together. It's not that bad. Come have a beer, have a good time, and see what Cleveland's really about.
No, that's actually really creative. I like that.
You got any big projects coming up? What's the latest thing that you about to release that we can pick up?
I mean, we're planning a lot for the year right now. We just launched our 216 design for 216 Day in February.
Because that's my birthday. Shout out to me.
That is really smart though.
February 16th. It's my birthday.
It should be a massive day in Cleveland that year.
I was born. Like, how bigger can it get?
Okay, Eli.
Maybe I'll have a stogie that day.
No, it is. It really is cool. Like, everybody looks at their area code, wherever you are. If you're Mr. 305, or we've got 216 that we love to rep, and 440 doesn't get much love.
We've tried to make a fake day.
And there's not an April 40th, so there's never going to be a 440 day, but the 216 day, we love any excuse to throw a party.
Yeah.
And I think 216 should be a day where all city workers get off.
I agree.
And most employers should look at it and say,
I would agree.
Yeah.
We'll give you that day off.
And then you raise the cup and say, shout out Tyvis Powell.
Happy birthday, Ty. Happy birthday. So what is the 216, what is that going to look like?
So it's numbers 216, but the the 1 is actually the terminal tower.
Beautiful. Love it.
So we've launched that already, so you could order it now and then get it to wear on 216, rather than what we've done in the past is launch it on 216 day and you can't wear it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's there. You could celebrate. And
how difficult is it for you guys to get rights? Because I know that
is a great question.
The industry is wildly creative when it comes to doing brown spins and guardian spins by using the colors, which nobody can trademark. And it's clearly, if you look at it, oh, that's a brown shirt, but nowhere does it say it, or do you have the logo? So what goes into that process?
It's getting creative with things that go on, or like events that have happened either in the past or current, like being timely with your tees. So if something happens in a game, someone says something, you do that, and people kind of latch onto it. We look at a lot of history and just kind of do what we are as Browns fans or sports fans in Cleveland, which is very tough sometimes, and we're very diehard, and it's about the experience and not really maybe about a certain team or thing like that. So.
Where do people go if they want to look at your entire inventory, your catalog? How do they do that?
You can go on our website at clevelandclothing.com or visit. We have 4 stores around Cleveland, 1 downtown on East 4th Street. We're at Crocker Park in Westlake, Shaker Heights in the Van Aken district, and then we also have an Akron store in Summit Mall.
I always feel bad going into the store on 4th Street because I like to hold the shirt and look at it, see the sizing and everything. But I can never fold them as perfectly as you can. Everything is in there like my mom did it. Everything is just perfectly folded, and I always wreck all that up. So I feel bad when I go through there and start digging
you're a
through
shopper.
shirts.
It happens every day.
It's hard to fold T-shirts, but somehow you guys have your own system that you've patented that every shirt looks perfect.
It's very good training, and practice. So.
I'll have you know, you're never going to believe this. 60 pounds ago, I worked at Abercrombie in college and got a lot of practice at folding those T-shirts with those folding boards, putting those boards in there.
Oh, yeah.
And
making
folding
them
them
good.
perfectly and crisp. And
so there is an art to it. Because I get them out of the dryer, and I'm looking at it like, I guess I can fold the arms in and then fold it in half, but now it's too wide. It's not going to fit anywhere. So then I typically just fold it in half again and stick it someplace. I'm not very good at that.
I think I do the same thing.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like folding underwear. It's like, come on, there's nothing to it. The project you regret the most. There's got to be one that you made and you're like, well, that didn't go over.
It's not really regret. I don't know. We did one where it was a Browns theme design, and it was the cycle or something like that. And so it's just start of the season, and it's like excitement, and then
we've talked about it.
Quarterback goes down, coaching, then you just go through. It's like first loss and like all of that, and go around, and it's like end of the season, like coaching change, GM change, and just keep cycling. I misspelled a word in it once, and I was like,
oh no, and it made it to print.
And it went to print. So people who have that, the 100 people that actually have that design.
So that's a collector's item. Because what, you just trashed all of them then?
No, they sold. And then someone pointed out that you have an extra letter right here. I was like, sorry, I didn't proofread.
Oh my God. So if you have
the proofreading department was not there that day.
Yeah. So. We were talking about that last week. I always called it like the delusional week. Like, so on Sunday, you get blown out.
Yes.
Team that you thought you could win. Monday, you don't want to hear the word Browns.
Right.
There will be nobody bringing up the game around me, or there's going to be hands thrown. And then Tuesday, you're a little better, but you still don't want to talk about it. Then Wednesday, you're like, who do we play Sunday? And then Thursday, you're looking at it saying, the Patriots? Well, hell, Brady hasn't been good the last 3 weeks. I mean, we could if hey. And then by Friday, you're like, we got this.
Yeah, we got
Saturday, you're partying because you know it's going to be a win. And then Sunday, the whole cycle goes back, and you're like, I'm done with this
Why
team
did I do this?
forever. Yeah, why am I putting myself through this?
Have you ever made a shirt that like one of the professional teams have reached out to you about in a good or bad way?
They don't want to work with you because it's taking money out of their pocket. What about athletes? Has an athlete ever come to you and said, I want to do a design?
Oh, yeah. We've worked with Bernie Kosar, Rocky Calavita.
Do you have Bernie's last play? Is that you guys?
Yes, that was that one, yeah.
I have that shirt. I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like, he literally drew up the last play he ever had in Cleveland. He drew it up, basically.
Yeah, we worked with Stipe Miocic and a few other players. Yeah,
That's
Mark
awesome.
Price.
What is that process like? Like working with Bernie, what was that like?
It was actually pretty easy. I mean, we just he came and was like, why don't we do my last play? Like, here it is. He handed me the piece of paper and we just drew it up and presented it to him. And he was.
What's your best seller?
Probably our logo tees.
Yeah.
So it's the guitar pick with the crossbones and CLE in it. That's been.
And who came up with that? Because I think that perfectly encapsulates Cleveland.
Yeah, I did in
Really?
2010, 2009.
That's
yeah.
awesome. Wow.
I went from a guitar pick, and then we added the crossbones for toughness and grittiness of the city and its people, and it's just become an icon, and yeah.
It definitely works. Mike, our shirts, I'm sure, just sold like hotcakes. Everybody had to have Old J on their shirt.
Everyone needed an Old J. G. Bush's family, his entire family, all the way back in Georgia, North Carolina, wherever it was, bought a ton of them. So yeah, they did pretty well.
Yeah, I'm sure
they're still selling. I sent someone a link for the t-shirts this weekend. So.
Okay, very good. I like I love the logo design. I know you have them there. The black with the sort of neon outline of the city logo. I love that one. I think that one's really, really cool. And thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
The website again, give the address one more time.
ClevelandClothing.com.
How can you forget
it's
that?
Pretty easy.
ClevelandClothing.com. 4 locations throughout the city. I'm guessing 75% of Cleveland has at least one of your shirts. I see them everywhere.
I'm going more over.
It might be over. It might be over.
And if you're a Coaches Tier member, you get discount codes at Cleveland Clothing Company. The merch code for the 10% off is on our community tab page on YouTube under the members only Coaches tab. So
membership has its privileges.
Has its perks.
Can you imagine what it will be like when, well, I can ask you firsthand, what was your biggest seller after the Cavs won the championship?
I mean, we made a championship shirt, theme shirt.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just.
It went nuts, didn't it?
Crazy. Like, we did close down for 2 hours so that our team could go to the parade and experience that.
Right.
And everyone, East 4th was actually empty during that time.
No one was there.
So it was actually good. But yeah, that was.
So when these teams are
day.
good, it's good for your business for sure.
Yeah, any events downtown, East 4th is always packed, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I love your location. It's in the heart of everything.
Yeah.
And whenever there's a big crowd down there and I go into the store, there's way more people in there than there are workers. So I know it could get a little overwhelming for you guys, but you do a great job. Mike, thanks very much
Thank
for
you
coming
so
in.
much.
We appreciate it. ClevelandClothingCompany.com. Check out their inventory. Their whole catalog is there. If you're one of the minority in Cleveland that you don't have one of these shirts, get one. Be part of the in crowd.
I wear them all the time.
Tyvis has many.
I wear them all the time.
I know you do. You love them. You definitely.
And
rep
Mike
it.
brought some swag for us, so we'll pass those out. Hey,
Wonderful.
Anthony, you want to pass them out real quick, or Earl, you want to pass them out real quick? We got some shirts. Mike's gonna pass them out.
Awesome.
Earl's gonna pass them out. Mike, thank you for bringing in that.
I gotta suck my gut in.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll wear them probably on air.
Cut a sponsorship deal with you guys. He just wears them.
He's got an NIL deal with them for sure. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I think they should do a Jason Lloyd shirt because he's been such a
Me
loyal
and Jason
customer.
weren't on the original, so just saying they can put a chicken nugget on any shirt.
Jason, what size?
So version 2.0
What do you
is
think? I'm extra large.
I'm an L.
Large and in charge.
And that doesn't stand for lost. That stands for large.
What's the matter with you?
Mike asked what sizes we
I'm just
needed
saying
for
I'm an
the
L.
set. I thought Bull and G were gonna be here. That's not me thinking you guys
I didn't want a mistake. Oh wow, I do not have this one. So that's outstanding. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like the design too.
I got that one.
That's my favorite one. Jay.
Yeah,
that one's swag. I like that one a lot.
You've worn this before.
I think I had it on yesterday.
And I've seen it, and I'm like, I don't have that. I got to get that. So now here it
Jason
is.
wore it yesterday.
That's awesome. And I've got 2 of those. I've got 3 of those. I've got them in all different colors.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. The script Cleveland is just,
Nice.
you can't go wrong with that. Thank you very much, Mike. We
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mike, as you leave, I'm not sure if you saw, but your guys' script, Cleveland Clothing Company script, is in the front of the table right there.
I see.
So
Yeah.
We have incorporated you guys fully into the UCSS family,
You bet.
and we appreciate it.
Mike, thanks
Thank
for all
you.
you've done. The
Yeah.
shirts are great. I kid about me looking 90. I must really look that way because everybody else to me is right on point. So I must really look like I'm 90 years old, and I apologize for
Hate to
that.
break it to you,
Yeah,
Jay.
that's pretty good, bro. You've got a job. If this thing falls through, you've got a job waiting for you. That's well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, here's how I fold mine. Will fit in my drawer. All right, where are we going from there?
I just got to do a couple promos real quick. Get the things in here. Built Bar. If you guys don't know, Built Bar is the official protein bar of everybody in Cleveland, including Cleveland Clothing Company. Yes, Anthony. Yes. Built Bar, very special place in our heart, very special place in my stomach as I try to bulk up for the stand-up routine. I'm be looking so big that when you guys throw tomatoes at me, just my pinky's gonna chop that bad boy in half. I've been using promo code LOCKEDON15 at built.com for all my Built Bars. You guys should too. Also, we got the memberships. We have a very special overtime membership video today. I promise you, it will make you laugh. That's my promise to you. It is not a joke. It is an outtake from earlier, but it will make you laugh. And as always, if you want to watch Jay smoke terrible cigars, let's just cut off the codes right now and show Jay. Jay, we talked about cigars yesterday. Jay's never smoked.
Not once in my life.
I didn't believe you yesterday. I believe you now.
Well, the way I'm smoking, though, I'm mimicking Eli. Can we show that video again of him smoking a cigar?
When Anthony gets back to pull up tag board, yes, we can.
He looks like a high school kid at the prom. That's what he looks like with his very first cigar ever.
I mean, I could bring cigars and we could all smoke them on set. How do you think that would go over?
That would go over real well. The fire marshal would come racing down here in a heartbeat.
We should do it when one of our teams win the championship.
You know, I've never smoked a cigar, but I might hit a cigar if the Browns ever won a Super Bowl. I would probably do that.
Would you smoke a cigar for a Super Bowl?
One time, and I would probably cough my way to my grave. I probably would.
That's what people feel about me drinking. It was like when you got married, when you got kids.
Yeah, you've never had a drink.
No, I'm good.
Ever tempted?
No.
If you ever,
I smell it and I just be like, you drink that?
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't eat seafood.
Oh, I love seafood.
Is there ever anything that could happen that would say, you know what, I'm taking a drink?
So it's funny that you say that. At 28 years old, I said to myself, it's too late. That's something you got to start when you kids mess around when they under the age and they shouldn't be able
to. No one at 28 ever says, I've been meaning to start.
Take up
smoking.
It's too late. So it's like, I think I'm going to just go ahead and ride into the sunset.
You know what? Do you, brother.
Right.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
For real.
There's nothing wrong. Now, have you ever smoked anything of any kind?
I've hit a stogie before.
See, I've never done any of that. I've never inhaled.
In high school.
Yeah.
Hit a stogie.
He's been smoked.
What was that guy's name at Channel 8? His arch nemesis?
Oh, Jake Moody.
Jake
Moody. I love that you remember his name.
Is it Mooney? Jake Moody.
I just love that you remember that.
I just, tell him I'm looking for him. Whoever.
Do you think Jake Moody smoked a cigar after that play, Tyvis?
Nah, he was worried about other things.
He's still living on that, though.
I could care less.
He's still living on that.
He's at Channel 8. Didn't we figure out he's at Channel 8?
I think someone did say he's a sales exec at Channel 8.
He'll go and tell his kids.
Are Channel 8 people allowed in this building is the question. Can we bring Jake Mooney in?
Yeah, we could. Of course we could. Here's the thing, though.
I don't want – you really want –
If
I just look at him in disgust.
I know you do, but if I had played against you and I beat you for a touchdown and you went on to become captain of the Ohio State football Buckeyes – and you were defensive player of the game in the national championship game, hell yeah, I'd get a T-shirt from the Cleveland Clothing Company that said, I burned Tyvis.
So let me tell you, the second worst thing that happened to me when I was in high school, after I committed to go to Ohio State, we was playing, I can't remember who we was playing, but we was running a jet sweep, and this DN shot the gap and TFL'd me. And after he tackled me, he got up and threw the
Oh, did he really?
They flagged me.
Taunting.
So they flagged him, and my coach declines it. Said, that's what you get.
Oh, that is a great story. He declined it.
He declined it. Said, that's what you get. You be wearing all that red cleats and red hat. I'm glad he did it.
Wow. That is first of all, that's a great smack move. Throwing the block O up on you after he nails you for a tackle for loss.
Kids is hilarious. The kids do the darndest.
Kids are funny. I mean, especially that age. High school kids crack me up. Especially athletes. I mean, it's just a funny group. Funny group. Are we going to go to final takes already or what?
We're a little early. Want to talk Scott Rowland real quick?
Let's talk Scott Rowland. He's going into the Hall of Fame. His career was interesting to me. He made 7 All-Star teams.
I don't even know who he is.
So that's a problem because you're not a major diehard baseball fan, but you know Barry Bonds.
I sure.
You know Roger Clemens.
I sure do.
You know Sammy Sosa.
I do.
You know Mark McGwire.
And they stop it right there.
And they're not going in.
See, and that's the problem.
Right.
I could care less about who goes to Cooperstown until Mark McGwire gets in. I think he deserves it. The steroid use thing. Listen, I get it. But at some point, you still got to put the bat on the ball. Like it's a talent,
right? That's my point. My point is, just because listen, the minor leagues were littered with guys using steroids because they wanted to make the big paycheck.
Yeah.
And just because you take steroids doesn't mean you're going to have inflated numbers. He averaged 25 home runs a year for his 17-year career. That's a good number. It really is. But it's not 40.
No.
You know, to me, the benchmark is 500 kind of rubber stamps you in. There's very few players that have hit 500 that aren't in.
So now that all these guys that can't get in, do you think that the Hall of Fame will become watered down?
Well, I'm glad you said that because to me, what we're seeing now is a product of exactly what you just said. In 21, there was no induction ceremony because nobody met the bar. I wrote down some numbers that I wanted to use to make this point. His first year on the ballot, you got to be out of the game 5 years to be on the ballot. Scott Rowland's first year on the ballot, he received 10% of the vote. Now, you've got to get to 75%.
That's alarming.
That's
and
wow.
The biggest argument for me making, and I love Scott Rowland. He was a good guy and was a very serviceable, successful player. By the way, 8 Gold Gloves. That's nothing to shake a stick at.
That's really
but
good.
But Omar, by the way, Omar will not get in, and there's off-the-field reasons for that. But Omar had 13 Gold Gloves or whatever the number was. Like, he was a perennial Gold Glover. But after his first year, Rowland's numbers went like this: 10%, 17%, then it doubled to 35%, then 53%, then 63%, and finally this year 76%.
How many chances do you get before you can?
10?
So he was on.
Are you
7?
on? I think you're
10.
on for.
I think that's right.
So this was 7 for him.
Yeah, and I could be wrong on that. It might be 7. I don't know because I think Clemens is now
He
Clemens
can't get in.
and Bonds now go to the Veterans
Committee.
So it might, and I don't know. They've probably been out of the league for 10 years. I think it's 10. I should know that.
Well,
that's as Bull would
10.
say, that's a bad job by me.
Well,
okay, it is 10 years, so it's not a bad job by me.
Do you want me to make the case for Scott Rowland why he's in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, there is a case to be made, by the way, for that.
I think there absolutely
I just made
is.
the case for why I don't think he is a Hall of Famer.
It's silly that like he hadn't done anything since
I know.
he got 10% of the vote.
That's what drives me nuts.
It's
He
a
hasn't
little
had a hit a home run, made a defensive play since 10% of the block thought he was a Hall of Famer. Now he's at 75%?
My biggest qualm with the Hall of Fame in general, any sport, baseball's the worst of it. If you have to ask yourself, is
That's
player
my
X
point,
a
too.
Hall of Famer? It's either a yes or no answer. It's not yes in 5 years.
Skip
it's not
Bayless
yes in
used to
7
say
years.
that.
It's a yes or no answer.
I
Skip
agree.
used to say this. Skip said if you have to think about it or go to Google, the answer is no. It's not the Hall of Very Good. It's the Hall of Fame.
They watering it down. That's what I'm saying.
Why should he be in the Hall?
Because listen, I don't think WAR is the end-all, be-all metric, but I think I think it's a pretty good indicator of how you
Wins
rank
above
errors.
replacement.
Wins above replacement. He has a higher WAR than Manny Ramirez.
I know he does.
He's on par with Gary. I just looked it up. He's on par with Gary Carter, who's widely regarded.
Now, a lot of that has to do with his defense.
Okay.
Because he was a Gold Glove defender.
He's right with Derek Jeter in WAR. Larry Walker, who's a Hall of Famer. Jim Thome, who's a Hall of Famer.
I know.
So he's right there. I mean, defense is just as important to the game as offense.
This is where I'll make the argument against WAR because I think stats can be very useful in certain situations, and I think they're very misleading in other situations.
Analytics.
You're using WAR again. He played a different position than Manny Ramirez and Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not apples and apples. The expectation of a third baseman when it comes to power is that 20 to 25 home runs a year. He averaged 25 for his career. So I don't want to see you just meet the bar. Unless you're Brooks Robinson, who is probably the greatest defensive third baseman of all time, unless you're Brooks Robinson, I'm going to need more out of your bat than 25 home runs a year to put you into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You're a perennial all-star. You were a great player, but were you Hall of Fame worthy? And that's where I think to use WAR as that standard, I think that's a little misleading.
The way I look at Hall of Fame is this. Give me a Hall of Fame third base guy that was good offensively and defensively.
Well, Mike Schmidt.
Okay, Mike Schmidt. Are you saying that he and Mike Schmidt is the same?
Yeah, right now they're in the same club, and I think that's a disservice to Mike Schmidt.
And here's one of my other issues too, and once again, this goes back. If you don't have unbelievable postseason success, which I do think puts you in a separate category.
Right.
Question for you three, and I'm sure if you didn't know this answer, I'll be shocked. What's the highest Scott Rowland ever finished in an MVP vote?
I'd say 5th, 6th, if that high. If that high.
He had one season
Third.
where he finished 4th.
Dang,
Okay.
that was close.
He never finished in the top 3 in MVP voting, and in baseball it's split up AL and NL.
Right.
Never was at one point in the season he considered one of the 3 most valuable offensive players or position players.
Players.
In
Period.
his,
Yeah.
I guess his pitchers count. Yeah, never top 3. If
Yeah.
you're not in that the Baseball Hall of Fame is so screwed up in other
No,
ways,
but
it's just so watered down.
it is screwed up, but here's why I think they're there. In 21, there was no induction class.
Yeah.
They had to vote someone in. They had to.
They had to.
Yeah.
Because you can't keep going year after year with that is baseball's day to shine. Outside of, obviously the postseason, it's a day where everybody that's a fan of the sport looks to celebrate the greats. And what the establishment has decided, and by establishment I mean the writers in this case, because they're the ones that put you in or keep you out. They have made the decision that if there was a hint of steroid use around your career, you are not going to Cooperstown. There are exceptions. Mike Piazza is in. Piazza was a guy who I think everybody widely agreed that this guy used. There are other guys that I think there's that same, at least, question mark around their careers that they are clearly taking a stand on and saying, no, you are not getting in. So what is that? So that era of the 90s that gave us Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, these guys who are explicably tied to steroid use, they're not going in. So what we're going to have at the Hall of Fame is an era of the game that is widely underrepresented. That's why Scott Rowland's going in.
And it almost makes it worse because when he's the only one going in and he's the entire focus.
Well, Fred McGriff is going in on the veterans because Freddie was voted in on the veteran side, which, by the way, I thought Freddie's career
I thought Freddie deserved to be in years ago.
Freddie had 500 home runs. Why isn't he in?
They're not going to let Mark McGwire in.
No.
The veterans, he might eventually get in. All those guys.
If Mark McGwire get in, I'm canceling my plans, and I'm going.
You're going.
Yeah,
See, he was your favorite.
That was my dude.
Yeah. He was listen.
Dude.
What's interesting is baseball has always been the hardest one to get. Basketball, they let anybody in. They open the door.
I know
come
they
on
do.
In. Basketball lets everybody in.
Yep.
There's no. I've talked to elite NBA players who are upset with how easy it is and how watered down. Because it's just a basketball.
Lyle Alzado was literally walked out of a test tube one day with muscles. He was. If you talk to anybody that knew Lyle Alzado, and for those of you that don't, Google his career. He played with the Browns, most famously with the Raiders. Had an unbelievable career. He was an animal. He had needle marks everywhere, and
pincushions.
He literally was a pincushion. And it's funny how the sports view steroid use differently. Guys get suspended for it in the NFL. And DeAndre Hopkins will resume his career as if nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
But if you were even whispered to have been around someone that used steroids, oh, well, you know what? He played with the A's in the 90s, and you know what the Bash brothers were doing? It's a wrap. Yeah. You're tainted forever. It's funny how the sports view use so differently.
Get a hold of yourself, man. What is wrong with you?
He had needle marks.
He did. Lyle Alzado was a freak. Look him up. Look him up right now.
You don't know Lyle Alzado?
First of all, his picture, he looks like he just walked out of a jungle. And he was as crazy as his pictures look.
I can't believe you don't know Lyle Alzado.
Well, look, why would he? He wasn't even born when Lyle Alzado was dead.
God, we are so old.
Lyle died of an enlarged heart.
Oh,
you're right. He did have a brain cancer.
You said what? Who that is.
You don't know Lyle.
He said he don't know who that is.
Well, he probably quit playing in the early 80s. They weren't even born yet.
Yeah. But he was like a legendary player.
I know he was. In his day, he was.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the guy was a known steroid user, and he was celebrated for his entire career.
That was 77?
He's probably in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Look at this dude.
I told you.
Yeah.
He was right off the – he was central casting for a football player from the 70s and 80s that used steroids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was celebrated.
Who's the guy from the program? Remember the juiced
Oh, yeah, I
up
remember the program.
That's him.
That's him.
That's Lyle.
Latimer. What did Latimer?
And you know what? There are a lot of former Browns that are still living that could come on this program and tell us stories that would blow our minds. Because I've heard stories about Lyle in team settings that are just like, no way that happened, and everybody said, no, it happened. that was Lyle Alzado. They should make a movie about that guy. All right, we're out of time. I want to tease overtime, and I want to take a special second to do this because McNuggets, who is now a comedy expert, now that he's boning up on how to do stand-up on February 8th at Hilarities. If you don't have your tickets, act now. They're going fast. He tells me that this is going to be the funniest overtime we've ever done.
Yeah, Jason, who wasn't supposed to be here, I showed him it yesterday. Jason, will you attest?
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right.
It's really good.
I can't wait to see it.
I'm scared. I'm nervous.
It's supposed to be the funniest soundbite in Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show history.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of sound bites in the history of the show, so it's definitely
we don't.
unquestionably the funniest.
All right, so
tomorrow, DeQuell and free agent targets for the Browns.
Awesome.
That's the plan.
All right, we'll go into overtime. We'll see you there, and we'll see you back here tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.